Get ready because this video is packed with tons of Dollar Tree Christmas crafts. This larger one we're going to start with, I already removed the sticker from the bottom, and we're going to remove the lid because we're not going to need that one. We're going to wipe it really well to make sure that all dust and smudges are removed from it. And then we're going to bring in this piece of leftover craft paper from a book that I got several years ago. I'm going to cut off a piece, and then we're going to take it outside and we're going to burn the edges. Now, be careful when you do this. If you do this, of course, be in a very ventilated area and just be very, very careful. Anyways, I'm going to use my little lighter here, and we're just going to burn off the edges, and then really making sure that we turn it off or like fan it off as soon as we start seeing it burn, because we just want to give it that burned old look. And I'm going to do that on both edges so that they both have that look. And this is what we're going to place right in the middle of the mason jar. And we're going to do a lot of layering for this one. So if you love layering, stay around because this is for you. All right, so once we had it where I wanted, we're going to bring it back inside. And then we are just going to attach it to, again, wrap it around the middle of the mason jar. And we're just going to use hot glue, but you can use any other glue you want. It didn't really matter because we are going to be layering it as I mentioned it. So everything else we're going to put around it is going to hold it in place. Now, this paper, again, you don't have to use this kind or this design, but you can use whatever you have on hand, as well as wrapping paper if you have one. All right, we're going to then move on to this glittery, meshy style Christmas ribbon from Dollar Tree. Again, wrap it around, hot glue it in place. And then we're going to keep doing this. We're going to take one of these towels from Dollar Tree. You can find these in the automobile aisle at Dollar Tree. I love using these, especially for Christmas crafts, because they have a very snowy, cozy look to it. I'm going to cut off a piece that's about maybe 1.5 to 2 inches wide. And then we're going to wrap it around and again, secure it with hot glue. And then we're going to take some red and white baker's twine. I found this one actually at Dollar Tree. And we're just going to wrap it around several times in the middle. And this is just going to add that last layer and kind of bring everything together, all the colors and textures together. All right, so now to the front, I do want to add a couple of greenery picks. These I get on Amazon. I do have them in my Amazon store if you want to check them out. They come a ton in a box. Great for crafts. But you can also use the greenery that you can find at Dollar Tree, of course. And then we're going to add a couple of extra little things just to add more texture and nice, beautiful Christmas, just kind of texture to it. Anyways, we're going to move on. Now we're going to add one of these faux candles. These are battery operated. I do have them on my Amazon store as well. They have two settings. One is just like a lit and the other one's like a candle flickering. It's really cool. And of course, they're faux, so they're safe to place anywhere in your home. And it has a remote control, and I think it turned out absolutely stunning. I love layering, especially using the craft paper. I think it's just gorgeous with that burnt edges. But let me know what you think of this one. Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take another large mason jar, remove the lid from it, and wipe it well, of course. Again, we want to remove any smudges or dust because we are going to be painting this one. I started painting it using Waverly chalk paint in the crimson tone, which is beautiful red, but in real life it was a little too burgundy-ish. So I wanted to give it an extra couple of coats using this other chalk paint. It's not the best chalk paint, but for a second coat, it worked really well. So I'm just going to do a couple of extra ones to make sure it's nice and covered. Painting glass is not easy, friends. It's better to spray paint it, but I think it turned out okay. We're going to bring back that towel from earlier, and we're just going to cut off a piece once it was dry, and we are going to attach it to the front. We're going to make a little Santa suit style mason jar that you can use for treats or as a flower arrangement vase. We're going to add another one of those pieces around the thread at the top to cover it up and to add a little bit more texture and design to it. And then, of course, we have to add a belt to Santa's suit, and we're going to use a felt. You can use ribbon if you have that as well. This felt came from Dollar Tree, and we're just going to cut off a piece that's about 1.5 inches thick. We're going to hot glue it to the front, wrap it around, and secure it in the back with more hot glue. And of course, we need a buckle. So everyone knows that Dollar Tree has these vinyls, and they have them in different colors and even textures. And they have this golden glittery one, which I thought was perfect to create a buckle for Santa's suit. We're going to cut off a square and then cut off a square inside the square, carefully using my X-Acto knife. And then we're just going to remove the back just like a sticker and place it in the front. I think it's so adorable. Oh my word. It's one of my favorites from today. Again, you can use it as a gift, fill it with all kinds of goodies, keep the lid on, or use it as a vase, whatever you want. But what do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with a piece of blank paper. This is just regular copy paper, and we're going to start hand drawing what will look like a little village, a little Christmas village. We're just going to do my best. I'm not an artist, okay? So we're going to make little houses and little tall pine trees, and we're just going to do that all across that bottom line. Now, I did draw that line at the bottom. It's about 1.5 inches, give or take. This is just going to give us a base, and you'll see where we're going with this. Once you have it drawn, we are going to roll it up. This is what it should look like. You can do whatever you want, of course. Cut off the excess at top, and then we are going to take a large mason jar, and again, as I mentioned, roll it up, and we're going to insert it inside the mason jar. Now, if you have a cutting machine and vinyl, like a Cricut machine, please use that. It's so much easier, and it's going to be so much cleaner and crisper. But if you do not, this is a great alternative. I taped it in place to make sure that it's not going to move around on me, and we're going to bring in 3 different size brushes and a very dark black paint. This is ink by Waverly. It is very dark and pigmented, but again, planing glass is not easy. So I did have to do a couple of coats, and it still was not perfect. So just keep that in mind. We're going to start brushing at the bottom and then adding the trees. And then we're just going to, it's going to be like kind of like painting and tracing what you already drew. And then we're just going to keep doing this until all the little village is painted. I think it's looking adorable. Anyways, okay, so now we're going to put that to the side, and we're going to bring in fairy lights. You know about these. I love these. I get them on Amazon. And again, I do have them in my Amazon store, but you can use the fairy lights Dollar Tree carries as well. They're battery operated. And we're just going to place the whole thing right there, right inside, even the battery pack. We're going to take some of this buffalo check black and white ribbon from Dollar Tree, cut off a piece, fold it in half, and this is what we're going to use to cover the thread, although you don't have to do this, but I thought it just needed something up there. So we're going to hot glue it in place. And then, of course, I do want to add a little bit more embellishments, but again, you can do anything you want with this. These picks are from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to add a couple of them here and there with hot glue. And we're going to keep it simple. We're just going to add a cute little golden bell right there to the center, and that's it. I think it is absolutely cute. Oh my word. At night, it has a beautiful Christmas village vibe to it, a beautiful glow. And what's best is that it was easy to make and so fun. Again, if you have a cutting machine, I think it'd be cleaner and better. But I love the way it turned out. But let me know what you think. I'm going to start with this large red glittery ornament, again from Dollar Tree. Remove the top portion, and we're going to take this leftover little wooden piece from a bottle brush Christmas tree from Dollar Tree. Remove the excess glue from the top, and we're just going to attach the big bulb right on top of that. And you just want to hold it in place until it kind of hardens. Then we're going to bring in this beautiful golden style glittery ornament, remove the top from it again, and hot glue it on top of the large one. And again, hold it until it hardens. I'm going to reinforce it with a little bit more hot glue just so that it doesn't go anywhere. Then we're going to take this darker golden one, remove the top from it, and then attach it. But I quickly realized, wait a minute, I can actually remove it and add a skewer stick first. This is going to give me more stability on that top ornament. I added glue and inserted the skewer stick right in there because they are made out of foam. And then we're going to attach it with more hot glue and just push it right there. This isn't going anywhere. Okay, I'm going to change the angle here so that you can see. I'm just going to add some greenery. These are just greenery picks from the Christmas selection. And we're going to keep it simple. Now, you can add whatever you want to this piece. But because there is so much going on with the ornaments, I wanted to keep the greenery nice and simple. So I'm just going to add them in between each ornament, adding hot glue, but being very careful because I want everything to look naturally and just very simple without glue showing, because I don't want to add berries or bells or ribbon, although you can if you want. I just want to keep it simple. And that's it, my friends. Oh my word, I love the way this one turned out. What a fun piece you can add on a mantle, console table, even as a centerpiece. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take some of these ornaments that you can find at Dollar Tree every single year during Christmas time. We're going to do gold and red, but of course you can use any combination you want. This ring I got on Amazon, but Dollar Tree carries these every so often. They did not have them at my Dollar Tree, so I did order these on Amazon and I love having them. I'm going to cut open one side just so that we can thread some of the ornaments. And we're just going to thread them until I run out. And I'm going to alternate the golden and the red tones as well as the size and just kind of keep it in somewhat of a pattern, but it doesn't have to. You do whatever you want. So I'm just going to keep threading them. Now, some of them did come off with a little hook. You just want to add a little glue and it works really well. And I did that until, again, I ran out of ornaments. Once it was filled, we're just going to kind of lift it up here just so that all the ornaments can just fall into place and then I can arrange them as I need to. To keep them in place, I'm going to add a dab of hot glue on each end. That way they're not going to kind of slide away. Now to the top, we're just going to add some ribbon. Now, of course, we cut that open, so we want to cover this up. And I'm going to use this beautiful red ribbon from Dollar Tree, fold it a few times, and then I'm going to attach it with hot glue and then just roll around a few times. This is where we can hang the wreath, but we can also add some embellishments to it as well. Secure it with a little bit of my hot glue, and then we're just going to add some greenery picks. The one I'm using are from Amazon, but of course you can use the ones from Dollar Tree as well. And then I'm going to finish it off by adding a couple little extra leftover small ornaments that I had from the piece. I'm going to add some of these extra picks just to add a little bit of dimension, a different color tone of the green. And we're going to add a couple all around the ornaments, just to make it a little larger and as well as add that dimension and color difference. But I love the way this is turning out. Again, you can use any color combination you want, of course. What a beautiful wreath. Oh my word, it's so inexpensive to make. And it would make a beautiful wreath for on top of your mantle or your front door. But let me know what you think of this one down in the comments. We're going to take one of these towels from the automotive aisle from Dollar Tree as well. I use these a lot for my crafts, especially Christmas ones. We're going to take that one that we had left over and we're just going to cut it into strips. This is going to be about 1.5 inch to 2 inch strips. It does not have to be perfect. As a matter of fact, the fluffier and less perfect, the better. We're going to wrap the entire ring using these strips and we're just going to hot glue in the beginning and the end. And the key is that wherever you end one strip, you want to start the next one. That way it is a nice, smooth finish all the way around. Once it's completely wrapped, we're going to take this snowman ornament from Dollar Tree as well, and we're going to hot glue it right inside of it. We're going to create a little vignette of a snowy snowman as well as some trees. These little buttons that it came with were not the best, so I have these at home. I'm just going to replace them with some better ones and just hot glue them in place. All right, we're going to take one of these bottle brush trees from Dollar Tree, remove the tag as well as the base. We're going to poke a hole right next to the snowman inside the foam ring, add a little glue, and we're just going to stick it right in there. And then we're going to add a smaller one on the other side, and we're just going to add a little glue. This one's a little smaller and lighter weight right there. It's coming along so pretty. We're going to make a simple bow. This is going to be a multiple bow or multiple loop bow using this ribbon. I got this ribbon at BJ's, but of course you can use any ribbon you want from Dollar Tree. We're going to tie it in the center with some white jute string, and then we're just going to hot glue it after we fluff it, of course, underneath everything right there in the center. Now I'm going to add these little fairy lights. You know I love these. I get these on Amazon, and I do have them on my Amazon store. They come a ton in a pack. They're really good bang for your buck. So I'm going to have them linked in the description box, my Amazon store, if you want to check them out. I'm going to wrap it around the top portion, around the ring, and then we're going to make sure that the battery pack ends at the bottom, and we're just going to hot glue that in place. Anything that lights up, I love, especially for Christmas. Just has such a nice glow. We're going to take one of those strips, towel strips, and we're just going to hot glue it to the top, just looping it around, and this is where we can hang this piece. And I got to tell you, I put it first because I think it's my favorite. I love the way this one turned out. So snowy, so glowy. I love it. But let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take another one of those rings, remove the sticker, and then we're going to do the same thing. But I promise it's going to be a whole new and different craft. Cut the strips of the towel an inch and a half to about 2 inches. And then we are going to do the same thing we did earlier. Wrap it all the way around. Another thing I didn't mention earlier is you want to make sure that you're tugging and tightening as you go. You want these strips to be nice and smooth and tighten and not loose. All right, we're going to take a piece of cardboard. This is just a piece that came with a pajama set that I bought. And we're just going to cut up a piece. I ended up cutting up a piece that's about 6 inches by 7 inches. And another one that's about 9 inches by 3 inches. We're going to add a layer of Mod Podge to one side. I've used this technique now for a while, and I'm sure you're familiar with it. Once applied, we're just going to set it to the side and let it dry, fully dry. And then once dry, we are going to cover them using felt fabric in the black color. Now, you don't have to do this. You can use any other fabric you want. You can also paint them instead of Mod Podging. I think adding the texture of the fabric, of the felt, really helps. But you can paint, of course, as you want, or you can cover it with black vinyl or even black construction paper. All right, once we had it on top, we placed parchment paper and then we ironed it, and that activates the Mod Podge and it attaches the fabric. I'm going to use my rotary cutter and cut off the excess fabric from the sides of both pieces. And this is what will be the hat of a snowman. Oh, I can't wait for you to see this craft. We're going to hot glue the top of the hat right there, one side. Now, it looks like it's going to be on top, but I do want the hat to be a little tilted. And you're going to see how I do that. Anyways, we're going to add the other piece right there on top. Now, you can see the little edge of the white cardboard. I'm going to use the black paint here and just going to just paint it. That way it's just going to make those lines disappear. You can also use permanent marker if you had that instead. Okay, we're going to add some embellishments. These are some greenery picks. You can use the ones from Dollar Tree, but I've had these for a while. I get these on Amazon because you do get more bang for your buck. So I'm going to add a couple, and then some of these frosted berries from Dollar Tree. They came on a garland, and I'm just going to add them right there to the hat. And then we're going to add a little scarf. This is just a piece of fabric I've had for a while. I think I got it at Hobby Lobby, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm just going to hot glue it to the bottom and kind of crisscrossing it a little bit to look a little bit like a scarf. So just hot glue as needed. You can also use a ribbon. You can give him a bow tie if you want. You can do whatever you want. All right, we're going to add a couple of these Dollar Tree picks. They have little berries and frosted picks. And that's that. Now, I thought it needed a little bit something else on the hat. So I'm going to fold a little bit of that same fabric. I'm going to fold a piece, and then we're just going to cut off the edges, and that way it's going to be nice and straight. And we're going to make it, just snug it behind the embellishments there and hot glue it. I felt like it needed something, and it really did bring everything together. I'm going to get folded towards the back and hot glue it and secure it in place. And how adorable is this snowman? Of course, you can add a nose if you want. I wanted to keep it simple. I love, love, love how it turned out, but let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take another one of the rings and remove the sticker, and this time we're going to use some red felt fabric, again from Dollar Tree. Our goal is to wrap the ring with the fabric. Now, I am going to speed up quite a bit of the process because it took a while. Because of the way the ring is shaped, you get what I'm saying. So I'm just going to start hot gluing it, the front and the back, and then I'm going to work on the sides and just pretty much make it as smooth as possible, especially towards one side. So I'm going to wrap it like a gift and just keep hot gluing as needed, just making sure that all the flaps are facing backwards so that the front is as smooth as possible. And it's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to do my best to make it nice and smooth and keep that nice round shape. I'm going to cut off some excess fabric and then we are going to start working on the top. Now this is going to be an ornament, and so I'm going to take more of that same cardboard from earlier and cut off a piece that kind of mimics what the top of an ornament looks like. I'm going to use a Dollar Tree vinyl. This is in their golden glittery type, and we're just going to cover the front of it. And then we're going to flip it and remove the excess using my X-Acto knife. Now, after I kind of dry fitted, it just looked a little too tall. So I did trim off just a little bit to make sure that it fits nicely. But of course, you do whatever size you need and want. I'm going to hot glue it in place. And then we're going to take one of these leftover rings from another project. It came with the little hanging ropes from Dollar Tree. We're going to hot glue it and we're going to also tape it. Now, this is a very lightweight piece, so a little bit of glue and tape goes a long way. This ribbon is gorgeous. It's from Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut off a piece and I'm going to fold it in half and attach it to the bottom of the top portion of the ornament. I think this really kind of just brought everything together and added a little bit more texture to it. Folded it towards the back and hot glued it in place. We're going to leave it pretty simple, but I am going to add some embellishments. Again, some of those greenery picks from Amazon, but you can use the ones from Dollar Tree. I'm going to add a few here and there, and then we're going to keep it simple, like I said, and we're just going to add some of these little vase fillers that you can find at Dollar Tree in 3 different shades, and we're just going to add them right there, and that's it. It's beautiful, it's festive, and I love that you can use this almost as a wreath in a front door, over a mantle, wherever you want. Well, let me know what you think of this one down in the comments. We're going to start with this wood blank. These are found at Dollar Tree year-round. I'm going to remove the juice string, and I'm just going to give it one coat of this beautiful red crimson from Waverly. All it needed was one coat, and I'm just going to set it to the side to dry while I work on this beautiful gift bag, again from Dollar Tree. It has this wreath form and happy holiday sign in the front, and basically I just want to remove that top portion very carefully with my little tiny spatula. I want to make sure that the little sticky pad stays on the actual part that I'm going to be using. So I'm just going to carefully remove each one, and then we are going to then reuse the bag for gifting or other crafts, but we're just going to use this part. It had a little bit of a curve, so I'm just going to straighten it out as best as I can. And I'm going to bring my favorite fairy lights. I get these on Amazon, and I do have them in my Amazon store, which is linked below in the description box. Anyways, you can use Dollar Tree ones, but you get more bang for your buck when you buy them there. Anywho, we're just going to tape them using clear tape to the back of this wreath. Basically, I want to put them as close as possible to the edge and go all the way around. And then with the battery pack, that was a little tricky, but I was able to figure out that it basically, you just want to tape the excess wiring, and then you want to make sure that the little part where you can click on and off is facing outward, just like this. So tape the excess wire and then hot glue the battery pack right there. All right, so now that the wood round is dry, we're going to center the wreath form right there in the center, and then we're going to hot glue it, basically adding a little bit of dab of hot glue in each sticky tab from the back. This is going to allow it to stick, but still give me that room and space behind for the battery pack as well as the lights. And there we are, we turned it on. Wait until you see this in the darker room. Oh my word. Okay, we're going to flip it over. We're just going to add this striped white and red ribbon. You can also keep the jute string it came with. It does not matter. I'm going to hot glue it and tape it to the back. Back to the front. Now I want to make this a little bit more 3D, although you can definitely leave it like this and it will look gorgeous. We're going to add some of these evergreen picks. I do get these on Amazon, but you can certainly use the ones from Dollar Tree. We're going to hot glue them facing one way all the way around in between each white poinsettia. And then we're going to add some of these red berries, again from Dollar Tree. And we're just going to add a little bundle on top of the just that little end portion of the evergreen picks. How gorgeous is this wreath form? I don't even know if to call it a wreath or a wood round. It doesn't matter. It's gorgeous. It's 3D. It's textured, and I love it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take this beautiful snowy barn gift bag, Again, a great find at Dollar Tree for $1.25. Holy moly. Okay, we're going to cut off the front. It's going to look messy, but then we're just going to nicely straight cut all of the edges to remove that excess paper. And I did rip it just a little bit when I was removing it from the other part of the bag, but I made it work. You can't even see it, but I did rip it. I wanted to tell you. All right, Dollar Tree has these canvases in the Dollar Tree Plus area. They come two in a pack and they are large, and I'm going to use one of them because it will be perfect for the size of the gift bag that we're working with. We're going to remove the plastic and we're going to just paint using the same paint color from earlier in the Crimson Waverly, and we're going to paint the edges, maybe about 2 inches from the edges as well as the sides of the canvas. Once dry, we are going to place the gift bag right on top. So we're creating a little frame for the design. Now, I don't want the edges to have that crisp, straight line. So once I had it hot glued in place, we're going to take more paint on my paintbrush, and then we are going to just soften those lines by giving it a little bit of a distressed dry brush technique on the edges. This is going to bring everything together. It's kind of like sliding onto the frame. You can skip this part though. If you like the way it looks with the straight sides and straight edges, please leave it. I wanted to just blend it in a little bit more. So I'm just going to use, again, the same brush, just dry brush a little bit of paint onto the design. And this is going to blend everything in together. I'm going to give that a few minutes to dry, and while that's drying, we're going to take these frosted picks from Dollar Tree, fluff them up a bit, cut off the excess stem, and then we're going to join them together to create a little swag. We're going to use a leftover piece of a white towel from Dollar Tree. We're going to hot glue it in place, roll it around a few times, tighten it as we go, and then just securing it with more hot glue. And this is what's going to go at the top of the design. Now, you can leave it the way it was, of course. I just felt like it needed something. It also had the 2 little holes for where the string was hanging from, but I added a poinsettia from Dollar Tree right there in the center, and I think it's stunning. Oh my word, I love the way this turned out. I love the colors. It's so cozy and Christmassy. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to start with this wooden blank from Dollar Tree. You can find this in the crafting aisle year-round. It is very rough to the touch when you first buy it, so I'm going to sand it smooth, especially on the edges, remove all splinters, and then wipe it and dust it very well. We're going to give it 1 coat of white Waverly chalk paint, and you can use any color, of course, and we're just going to put it to the side and let it dry. We're going to create a little vignette that you can use to place anywhere in your home during the Christmas season. This gorgeous gift bag, again from Dollar Tree, has this little stacked gift little portion, and it has that 3D look, same as the first craft. And we're going to carefully remove it once again using my little spatula, leaving those little tabs where they are. You can also leave them just like this, but I wanted to attach it to cardboard. This is on a thinner side cardboard, just so that we can make it a little stronger and sturdier. All right, so once we trace it, I'm going to use my blade knife, and I'm just going to cut it off and making sure that it fits nicely and flush behind the design. So once again, I'm going to use hot glue and just hot glue it to the surface using the little tabs. All right, we're going to flip it over and we're going to add 3 of these tumbling tower wood blocks from Dollar Tree. You can find these in their toy aisle. And we're just going to use 3 of them because it's going to help us keep this gift stack nice and straight up. That way it's not going to flap around on us. Once the board was dry, we're going to hot glue the whole thing right there in the center. And this is what it should start to look like. How cute. Dollar Tree has tons of these bottle brush Christmas trees, and these have little tiny ornaments. I'm just going to remove the base, mark where I need to drill, and then using my drill, I'm just going to drill a hole and then attach the little tree with hot glue right there. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And this is what it should start looking like. You can leave it like this actually. It's so cute. All right, we're going to add a couple of these small little evergreen picks from Amazon. Right there, 2 of them to the front. And then we're going to add a red poinsettia from Dollar Tree right there in the center. And I think that brought everything together. Love this little vignette. Again, this is something you can add to any little corner in your home for added Christmas decor. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this Winter Wonderland gorgeous little tiny gift bag, remove it from the rest, and we're going to keep that little white cardboard or cardstock portion from it because we're going to reuse that. I'm going to use my X-Acto knife and I'm just going to cut off the snow globe portion of it. You can use your scissors, of course you can. Just I like using the X-Acto knife because it just leaves nice straight lines. All right, these canvases I found on a trip to Florida. We visited a local Dollar Tree there and I found them. I've never seen them at my Dollar Tree. And I used them for some summer crafts about a couple of years ago. And I had this one left over and we're going to use it. We're going to hot glue the snow globe right there to the front and towards the bottom. And then we're going to take that cardstock that we kept earlier and we're going to use my snowflake hole puncher design. And we're going to hole punch several of the snowflakes. And we're going to use this to hot glue them all around the snow globe. Now, I do have these hole punchers. They come in a set of 6 with different shapes and designs. And I have them in my Amazon store. Again, if you want to check that out, it is linked down below. All right, we're going to use these greenery picks from Dollar Tree, and we're just going to cut off several stems. And again, we're going to create a smaller little swag for this one. Use some more of that leftover a towel from Dollar Tree. We're going to roll it around in the center, and then we're going to hot glue that to the top of the canvas. And then I'm going to add a couple of smaller little tiny picks that I had left over that have a silver tone just to keep it in that Winter Wonderland design. And we're going to hot glue them to the front to make sure it hides the towel, although you can leave it. It looks nice. But I just want to add a couple little of these. And I love that it brought everything together. Such a simple craft. So wintry also. It can be used for Christmas as well as winter. But I think it's so beautiful, so soft, and also so easy to make. Well, what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. We're going to start with this beautiful red one. Boy, was it gorgeous. I knew I wanted to make something for Christmas. I'm going to wipe it really well, dry it, and then we are going to take this printout that I printed just off of the computer in a paper, and then we're just going to make sure that I printed it in the size that I need for the plate. Dollar Tree has vinyl in different colors and designs, and we're going to take a simple white one. We're going to cut off a piece so that we can trace our design on it using carbon paper. I'm going to cut off the excess from the top and the bottom, and then we're just going to place carbon paper on top of the back of the vinyl, so on the paper side of the vinyl. We're going to secure with masking tape and then add the design right on top. Now, if you have a design that specifically needs to be backwards, like words, just make sure you print it flipped, okay? I'm going to use this little tool. It's a tracing tool that I recently reviewed in one of my review videos. Loved it. So I'm just going to trace it and use my ruler to make sure that I stay in straight lines where I need to have straight lines. And then I decided to use my star-shaped hole puncher, because that way it's going to be a nicer star than me having to cut out a star. So there you have it. I'm just going to use a combination of my scissors and X-Acto knife to cut off each piece separately. That way it'll be easier to attach. So I'm going to cut off the manger part first, and then I'm going to cut out every piece of it. So Jesus and then Mary and Joseph. And that way, again, I can just attach them like stickers. Again, as I mentioned, I'm just going to use this star hole puncher, and I love it. They come in a set of 6, and I got it on Amazon. And I do have it in my Amazon store. If you want to check it out, it is linked down below. And there's a cute little star. All right, so now we're going to place everything again, just like stickers. Remove the back. We're going to start with the manger, then move on to Jesus right there in the center, and then Mary and Joseph on each side. And of course, we want to place the star right above. And what's going to be neat about this craft is that we are going to make this where it lights up. You know, I like my fair lights. I'm going to use my drill and I'm going to drill 5 holes on the star because I want the nice star to be bright right there in the center. And then we're going to make smaller holes or smaller lights, I guess, stars all around that star. So here I'm just measuring, making sure that the holes are wide enough for each little light bulb, and they weren't. So I'm just going to make the holes just a little wider by simply just wiggling the drill around. Now, the string of lights has 20 total fairy lights. I'm going to make 15 holes, and that's including the 5 that are on the star. I want to have extra ones. Please keep that in mind. That's very important because you're not going to have enough if you drill 20 holes. So I drill 15 holes, and I'm just going to then fold a little wire and just poke each little light bulb inside each hole, securing it in the back with some masking tape. And it's not going to look very pretty in the back, and that's okay, as long as it looks gorgeous in the front. So I'm just going to insert this last couple here. And as you can see, I did have some leftover little light bulbs. That's okay. So we're just going to secure everything with masking tape. And then the battery pack is going to go with hot glue and the remaining wire with tape. All right, flipping it back to the front, we're going to add some greenery picks. These are from Amazon, but of course you can use the ones from Dollar Tree. I'm going to add a couple of these pine cones and some red berries to bring a little pop of color right there. And then I decided to add some more of these greenery picks. These are from Christmas and they have a nice glitter to it. I love the way this turned out. Oh my word. First of all, love that it's a manger because Jesus is the reason for the Christmas season. But I love that it lights up and at night it looks gorgeous. What do you think? For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take this beautiful plate that I actually used during the fall crafting season, and it has a beautiful texture. I'm going to use another one for a Christmas craft here. We're also going to use these window clings. You know I love the window clings. These are actually from Dollar General, but of course, if you find any at Dollar Tree that you like, these were actually $1 each, so they were less expensive than the Dollar Tree ones. All right, I'm going to use several of these little clings, and we're just going to dry fit them first, just to kind of see what we can fit and what I like. And then I'm going to Mod Podge them in place. So just add a nice thin layer of Mod Podge, place each cling, making sure you attach and remove any bubbles as needed. Now, the design of the little characters have these string of lights all tangled around them. And I thought that looks so cute, and it gave me such a great idea. So once I had all of my little characters attached, I did add one more layer of Mod Podge on top of the clings. That way it's going to be nice and steady, and it's not going to go anywhere. All right, so now we're going to take different color vinyls from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to cut several strips. And then we are going to hand draw what will look like little light bulbs, Christmas light bulbs. And I'm going to draw them first, and then I'm going to cut them. Now, I cut way too many. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyways, I cut out some blue, red, green, and yellow to complement the design. All right, so now we're going to place the lights all around the edge, alternating them in different colors, but keeping the same color pattern. So I decided to go with a green, red, blue, yellow pattern, and I'm going to do that all around. And then once I had all the light bulbs around, I'm going to take a permanent marker from Dollar Tree, and we're just going to make the string, and we're going to curl it, just making sure that they all join together and they come together nicely at the end. Holy smokes, friends. This one is such a fun craft. You can make this one with your kiddos too. What a fun, vibrant, I just love it. I love the string of lights, but let me know what you think of this one down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this rectangular golden plate. Love that they have these at Dollar Tree for $1.25. This was in the fall collection, but of course you can use any time of the year. We're going to wipe it well, and I'm going to give the center 2 coats of Waverly chalk paint in the white. Why did I do this? I don't know. Because you really didn't need it. I thought I needed it. I don't know why, but I'm showing you the process. So I did 2 coats, let it dry, and then we're going to bring in one of these dusting mops from Dollar Tree. I love using these, especially for Christmas and winter crafting, because it has a nice, cozy, snowy look. I'm going to remove the tag from it, of course, and then we're going to hot glue it in place, adding hot glue on the edges as needed. And this is why I didn't need to paint it. So don't paint it, okay? It's not needed. All right, these bottle brush trees are great for crafting and decorating as well. I'm going to remove the wooden base from each, and we're just going to hot glue them in place. And I'm just going to make a little vignette of snowy trees. And this is going to be a nice, cute little, almost like centerpiece, but you can add it anywhere in your home. And wait until you see what I add at the end. So as you can see, I added different sizes and different shapes. And now we're going to take more of those fairy lights. By the way, I get these fairy lights on Amazon. I know I've mentioned that before. You get more sets for just more bang for your buck, okay? And I do have them on my Amazon store as well. All right, so I'm going to string them, and I'm just going to put them around the trees. And then we're going to bring in some of these Dollar Tree ornaments, which they have a huge selection of. This one is a beautiful reindeer style one. We're going to add hot glue to the bottom and just add it right there. And then we're going to add, similarly, this tree has the same kind of texture and design, and we're just going to add this one right there. Dollar Tree has these little Christmas village people and little figurines. I'm going to add a cute little bench with a little person there and a light post on this side, and then the other light post on the other side. I think this one is gorgeous. This will look great as a centerpiece, which I think this is where I'm going to place on my dining room table, and at night it looks stunning. But let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this gorgeous Christmas plaid plate. Oh my gosh, this looks beautiful. I'm going to dust it well, and then we're going to bring in one of Dollar Tree's calendars. You know these are great for crafting. I'm going to take the Christmas calendar one, and then we are going to just cut off the farmhouse truck. Just trim it all around. Now you can use your scissors. I find that it's easier and more crisp to use my X-Acto knife. So I'm going to speed it up here for you, but I'm just going to go all around, making sure that I also cut all the details of the tree. And then we are just going to pull it out. And I think it's so satisfying to see it like pull out just like this. How fun. We're also going to use the season greetings portion. So I'm just going to use my scissors and cut around it. Of course, if you have a cutting machine, you can use that and you can add any message you want. We're going to Mod Podge it in place. So we're going to add Mod Podge to the back. And then we are going to place the truck at the bottom and the season's greetings on the top. And guess what? We are going to add fairy lights to this one too, because why not? Similarly to the first craft, we are going to drill some holes on the actual tree on the back of the truck. And we are going to make, I think I made maybe 10 or 12. It doesn't matter. These holes are close enough to each other where even if you did all 20 little lights, it will actually work. Same thing as we did earlier. So I'm going to speed it up. Just going to fold a little wire, poking the little light right through the hole and securing it with masking tape. And of course, we want to hot glue the battery pack to the back. All right, so once everything's secure, we're going to flip it to the front. Look how cute this looks. We're going to add some greenery picks. This is optional, of course. I just thought it needed something. So we're going to add these to the bottom and layer on some Dollar Tree embellishments, pine cones and picks and little red berries, just to again add a pop of red color. But I think it's stunning. Again, at night it looks so beautiful. What an easy craft you can do, but it makes such a statement. What do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. We're going to start with this Santa gnome. Now, it is kind of cute the way it is, but we're going to make it so much better that it could even be used as a front door wreath. We remove the nose, the tag, and we're also going to be removing the beard. We're going to take my wire cutters and we're just going to cut off that bottom plastic portion. We just want to keep the cone hat. That's it. Now, we're going to take a white tree. They do come in green as well as white. We're not going to need the base nor that little part. And then we're just going to open it up very little. We're not going to fluff it up too much. We want to keep it in the similar shape it came in. And then we're going to cut off that larger one from the bottom. Then we're going to attach it to the back of the hat and we're going to flip it and we're going to secure it with zip ties. These zip ties are from Dollar Tree and they carry them in the automotive aisle. At least that's where I find them. And we're going to use 2 white ones. It does not matter if you see them in the front because we're going to cover that up anyways. And then once attached, I'm going to use my wire cutters and cut off the excess zip tie. All right, we're going to flip it over. We're going to fluff it just a little bit more. But don't worry, we're going to end up just adding so many details to this craft. All right, so we're going to take this red felt fabric, also from Dollar Tree, and we are going to cover the top. We're going to start in the front and work our way to the top as well as the back. And just hot glue it all the way in the back, keeping it as clean as possible, of course. We want to keep the excess on the top because I do want it to look a little bit more like a Santa hat. So we're just going to fold it, scrunch it, and just bring it towards the bottom. And then we're going to tie it with this rope, and we're going to hot glue it to the side, just like that. We're going to take this foam. It's actually a snowball, but I think it looks like a little pom-pom, so we're going to use it. And then we're going to use a larger ornament so that it looks like a nice big gnome nose. This ribbon has a fluffy kind of furry kind of look. I got it at Walmart last year, but you can definitely use Dollar Tree towels if you have that. We're going to hot glue it over the nose at the bottom just to give the Santa hat that fluffy, nice look at the bottom, and then securing it in the back with a little bit more hot glue. We're going to add these fairy lights. Of course, this is optional. You can also use Dollar Tree's fairy lights. They're battery operated. I got these on Amazon, but you get so much more bang when you get them on Amazon. But if you want to use Dollar Trees, of course you can. I'm just going to start wrapping it around all the bristles, and they are wired so they nicely hold onto the bristles. And then we're going to make sure that the battery pack ends up in the back, and we're just going to hot glue it in place just like that. All right, flipping it back to the front, we're going to add this greenery pick from Amazon, but you can use the ones from Dollar Tree. And these poinsettias from Dollar Tree, we're just going to add one right there next to it. And then to add a little more pop of color, we're going to add the leafy greens right there, and that's it. I think it's adorable. It started so cute, but I think now you can add this to your front door. It lights up at night, but what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take this leftover summer sign and we are going to sand down all the glitter from the front to make it nice and smooth. Wipe it really, really well. And then we're going to cover it up with some just craft paper. So we're going to use this adhesive spray. We're going to spray a layer of it and then we're going to cover it up. This craft paper came from a book that I got at Michael's a very long time ago. We're going to cover it up all the way to the bottom. We're going to sand down the edges using my electric sander. This just gives it a nice smooth finish as well as a distressed look on the edges. And then we're going to wipe it well and we're going to bring in one of the green trees. These are the original ones, and again, we're not going to need the base. And then for this one, we're just going to fluff it up, but we're going to bring all the bristles completely down, facing downwards. Just going to give it a different look, and I actually prefer these trees when they have this look. We're going to cut off that longer one from the top, and then we want to cut off the bottom just to kind of make it nice and straight so that it fits flush to the bottom of the tag. Those leftover bristles, we're not going to put them to waste. We are going to hot glue them in between the rest of the bristles. That way it'll add some more fluffiness. Adding a ton of glue to the back, and we're going to hot glue it to the base or to the tag towards the left side. We're going to take these foam balls from Dollar Tree. We're going to take 3 medium ones and 3 small ones. We're also going to take 2.5-inch skewer sticks. We're just going to cut them and we're going to hot glue them so that we can hot glue a medium one and a small one together. we're going to create 3 little small snowmen. I saw this on Pinterest and I realized, oh my word, I have to try this using Dollar Tree items. So we're going to first do the little snowman and then we're going to cut off some of the bottom of the back. We want the snowman to be able to sit flush on the flat surface. So cutting it with the foam cutter works really well. And then we're just going to start attaching them with hot glue, stacking them one on top of each other. We're going to add a lot of embellishments and a lot of details to the snowman, but I want to attach them first. I want this to look like the snowman are actually holding each other up as they're placing a star on the tree. We're going to give them each these little tiny scarves, and I'm just going to use fabric that I had at home, scrap ones, leftover felt fabric, and we're just going to slide it from the back, tie it in the front. Now, each little snowman is going to be facing a different direction, and this is why we glued each snowman first before we added any details. After I added the scarves, it's time to add some cute noses. Now, each skewer stick has that tiny pointy part. We're going to use that as the nose, and I'm just going to paint them using orange marker. And then we're going to cut them. And then we're just going to attach them using hot glue and start placing them exactly in the direction I want the snowman to be facing. So the first one, I want it to be facing towards, kind of like towards the front. The red one there, we're just going to add it towards the back. And then the other one is going to be facing directly towards where the star is going to be, just like that. We're going to add eyes using this marker, but you can also use paint if you have that. And we're just going to add them right there on the top. I want these to have buttons, so I am going to just poke some holes right here with my hole puncher in this black stock paper, and we're going to use the little dots as the buttons, and they worked really good. And of course, we want to add 2 on each little snowman. Now, I did go outside and grab some sticks because we needed some arms. So we are going to start with the bottom one, and the bottom one's going to look like he is holding the top snowman. So we're going to attach it to him as well as the bottom of the other snowman. And then we're going to keep attaching arms just like they're all holding each other and working really hard to get that star attached to the top of the tree. It's so adorable. Oh my word. Okay, so once the arms were attached, I'm going to take this leftover white towel from Dollar Tree and just going to cut off a piece, and I want to add it to the bottom. This is going to look like a little bed of snow where the tree and the snowman are standing on. And hot glue does do the work. And then, of course, cutting off the excess. All right, for the star, if you have one that lights up, I think it would be even better, but I didn't have one. So I'm just going to use vinyl from Dollar Tree in a golden glittery, and I'm going to freehand a star. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just going to do the best I can and cut it. And I'm not going to remove the back. I'm just going to hot glue it in place. And then we're going to add some of these tumbling tower blocks to the back. We're going to add 6 totals, 2 stacks of 3, and that way we can stand this tag in any surface, and I think it's so adorable. Oh my word. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take another one of the green trees, actually 2 of them. We're going to remove the base, and then we are going to join both of these together. First, we're going to fluff them up just a little bit. And then we're going to bring all the bristles to one side because we want to join them side to side. I have also joined them top of each other and they look great. But for this project, we're going to just line them up right next to each other, and using black zip ties from Dollar Tree, we are going to tie them up. I used 3 of them. And then we're going to fluff it just as if it was one tree, but we're going to keep the back flat, just like you see me doing there. Now we're going to bring in this mesh ribbon from Dollar Tree. It has a beautiful green tone, and I'm going to cut 3 pieces in 8 inches long and then some white jute string. And we're going to join all the ends together just like you see me doing here. We're going to tie with the jute string, and we're going to create little bubbles. It looks just like little tiny little bubbles, and that way we can add these in between the bristles. So all I did again was cut off 8-inch pieces of the mesh, join them together in the points, like in each corner, and then join them with jute string. I'm adding a little tiny glue in the knots so they don't come apart. And then I'm going to cut off the remaining or the excess on the top so that it flattens it out, and we can add hot glue. And this is then where we're going to attach it in between the bristles onto the base of the trees, just like that. Now I'm going to speed it up quite a bit for you because it's very repetitive. But here's important information that you may want to know. The first 3 were 8 inches long. Then I went down to 7, and then I went down to 6, and then I went down to 5 inches. And the reason why I did that is because the tree gets smaller as it goes down. So we want the bubbles to be smaller. But we did the same exact process, just cut, tie in the knot, creating a nice little bubble, adding hot glue after you cut off the excess, and hot gluing it, inserting it in between the bristles to the base of the trees. And I'm just adding these last few here. Again, these are the tiny, small ones. And it just looks appropriate for the size of the bristles and the size of the tree at the bottom. We're going to create a very large bow. These are just ribbon from Dollar Tree. We're going to use 2 complete rolls, and these are 9 feet rolls. The first one we're going to use, and we're just going to create multiple loop bow, and they're all going to be large, the same width as the top of the trees. And then we're going to secure it in the center with white jute string. Then we're going to take another roll with the same type of ribbon, and we are going to create another bow with multiple loops. This one we're going to have some medium-sized loops as well as some smaller ones. And then we're going to attach that one on top of the other one with the jute string. And then we're going to attach the whole thing onto the top of the tree. I am going to use zip ties to attach it, but of course you can use jute string if that works best for you. I used 2 zip ties and I crisscrossed them so they are nice and secure, cutting off the excess. Now it's time to fluff and adjust as needed. And I'm going to add some of these red berries from Dollar Tree. This is going to go in between the bristles just like we did with the mesh. This is going to bring everything together with that red tone from the ribbon. And I think it's absolutely gorgeous. You can add lights to this as well, but this could be a beautiful wreath you could display in your front door, over a mantle, or wherever you want. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take these hanging shelf from Dollar Tree. They have different sizes. We're just going to use one that has one of them. We're going to remove the plastic, and we're going to keep the rope and the ring just because I use these all the time in other crafts. We're going to sand it smooth because it does come a little rough to the touch, and wipe it really well. Then we're going to use some of these wallpaper from Dollar Tree. They come in different designs, and I'm going to use this one because it has a great planked look. I'm going to trace the board just to kind of know where to cut, and that way we're not wasting wallpaper. We're going to cut it, and then we're going to cover the surface of it. We're going to make sure that it's nicely attached. And just like we did earlier, we are going to remove the excess wallpaper from the sides using my electric sander. I just love the way those ends look, and I just love how it gives it a small little amount of distress. All right, we're going to take one of these green ones, and we are going to remove all the bristles, like literally remove them. Just cut them with wire cutters, and then we're going to separate them by size because we are creating another tree, but I want to use these because I feel like $1.25 for the entire tree and getting all these little bristles is a great deal. I'm going to start attaching them. I did draw a line down the center so it keeps me nice and straight. And we're just going to start attaching them, creating the shape of an evergreen all the way down to the bottom edge. It's looking so nice. Now I want to trim the bottom so it's nice and flush to the edge. And then we're going to just add snow. And this is basically white paint. And we're just going to dab it until the entire thing looks frosted and snowy. And then we're going to put it to the side to let it dry. Once dry, we're going to add some of those fairy lights. And we're just going to add them in between the bristles. And again, because it is wired, it's pretty easy to do. And we're just going to make sure that the battery pack ends in the back. I had this leftover ribbon from another project, and I'm just going to use it and make a very simple bow by looping it like an awareness ribbon, scrunching it in the center, tying it with some jute string, cutting off the excess ribbon, and then we're going to attach it to the top. Now you can add whatever else you want to the tree, tiny ornaments, whatever you want. I'm going to add these blocks again to the back, and I'm going to keep it pretty simple. That way it can stand, it adds a beautiful glow at night, and it's just beautiful. You can even use it in winter. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. As I mentioned in every video that I use these, I keep them in this little basket because they're just great to keep them contained, and I can just grab from there. We're going to start by staggering several of these, 10 to be exact. We're just making a row, staggering one on top of each other like a little tiny ladder, and we're going to do 2 of these. And then we're going to join them in the shape of the letter A, just like this. We're making a Christmas tree. Now, I haven't joined them at the top yet. I first want to create a base for them. So I'm just going to add some blocks right there in the center, and I think it was about 4 of them, and then we're just going to hot glue them across. Once I have them joined, then I'll join them at the top because I know exactly where to kind of join them at what angle, I guess. And then I decided to add more blocks to the bottom because I wanted to create a nice, heavy or thicker base so that it doesn't fall on me or wobble. So I'm just going to add one more layer in the front and one more layer in the back. And now we have a tree that we can stand, and it's so fun. All right, I want to paint it green. And at first I wanted to paint the base also green, but I changed my mind. So I wiped it off the best I could. I just want the actual V, the actual tree to be green. I started with this apple crate green, and it is nice, but I wanted it to be a little deeper. And then it dawned on me, I just recently did a review with Dollar Tree paints, and I went back and I got this green one, and I love the coverage and I love the deep green color it has. And adding it on top of the lighter green actually worked really well. So I'm just going to do one extra coat, and it's going to be a sloppy coat because I do want to see some of that lighter green. And this is what it turned out to be. Tell me that's not a pretty color, and then look at the highlights from the lighter green. Perfect. Okay, we're going to paint the base white. You can paint it in whatever color you want. You can paint it red, black, you can leave it the way it was, or you can paint it green. It's up to you. I did 2 coats and let it fully dry. Then I'm going to grab some of these little tiny ornaments from Dollar Tree. They come in golden tone, I think in red and green as well. I'm going to take 5 of them, and then I'm going to take some thread. This is just beige thread that I've had at home for a while. And I'm just going to cut pieces that are about 12 inches long, and then we're just going to tie it around in a knot each ornament. And I'm going to do that on all 5 of them because we're going to use these to hang them from the inside of the tree. Now we're going to take one at a time, and we're just going to kind of stretch it and kind of see where I want to add glue. And then place the thread right inside the glue, let it harden just a little bit, and then you just want to cut off the excess thread from the top, just like that. And then I kept doing this, just adding one ornament at a time, placing them exactly where I wanted it to hang, and then just adding glue where I wanted, and then cutting the excess. And I did it until all ornaments were hung. How cute is this? All right, so we are going to lift it so slow because I don't want the ornaments to be like tangled together. But boy, I love this one. I'm sorry, but it is just so cute. I love that the thread is thin enough where it's almost invisible, but it's so adorable. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to start with one of their calendars. Now this is a 2025 calendar, but it did have this tiny little 2024 calendars in the inside, and I cut out the one for December. I'm going to create a large block. Now I'm going to speed it up quite a bit here for you because I'm basically just going to create a block. Now depending on the size of calendar you have, you may want to make it bigger or smaller or whatever you want to create. So I'm just going to keep adding blocks. Now if you can see, I'm adding some that are vertical and some that are horizontal. This is going to create stronger joints because we are using hot glue. And if you're adding them all together, they may be a little loose. So just add this in this technique if you like. I've learned that it does create stronger joints. All right, so I'm going to keep doing it. And if you can see, I can add the calendar or dry fit it to see how much larger I want it. So I added enough, but there are so many spaces in between the blocks that I'm going to try something new. And I hadn't tried it before. I'm going to add some wood filler all around those spaces. Now, this wood filler was really dry. I had to get a new one. Anyways, I think it worked, but I'm going to show you a different thing that I use on my next craft. So stay tuned. All right. So once dry, I am going to sand down all the excess wood filler and then use my handheld vacuum, which is amazing, by the way. I'm going to have it linked in my Amazon store, which is in the description box if you want to take a look at it. I wiped it well, and then I am going to give it 2 coats of Waverly chalk paint in the white, but of course, as always, you can use whatever color you want. I decided on white because I do want to add some red details to it. All right, nice and dry, and I'm just going to add the calendar to the right side of the board with a little bit of hot glue. It goes a long way. And then for the left side, I wanted to add days until Christmas. Now, I used my Cricut for this because it was just neater, and I found a great design on Cricut Design Space. But you can also use the carbon paper method that I have used many times on my channel, or whatever you want. You can also hand draw them, whatever you want. So I'm just going to attach it with the transfer tape. And then I thought the corners or the edges were a little uneven still, so I want to add ribbon to it. And this has really made a huge difference. It just makes those edges nice and straight looking. So I'm just going to add it with hot glue and cut as needed. To be able to hang this piece, I'm just going to use some nautical rope from Dollar Tree. I'm going to hot glue it and tape it to the back. Now, I didn't paint the back because we are going to keep this one, and because we're just going to use it for the 1 year as we cross off the days. But of course, if you're going to gift it, I suggest you paint it. But look how cute it looks. I kept it pretty simple and clean looking, but I love it. I love how adorable. We can scratch off the days as they go by. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. I brought down one of each because we're going to create a lit up snowman, and I can't wait for you to see how cute this turns out. I removed the paper or the sticker from the bottom and wiped them really well. Then, as you know, Dollar Tree has all these vinyls that you can pick. They have different colors and even textures. I'm going to pick just a random orange one because it does not matter what color it is. I'm going to take my snowflake hole puncher. I get this in a set of 6 on Amazon, and I do have it in my Amazon store if you want to check it out. It is linked in the description box. I just punched several of them, and we're just going to use them as stickers and place them all over each bowl. We are going to spray it with a frosted Rust-Oleum spray paint, and I want to have these little snowflakes just kind of see-through. So I'm just going to add them here and there, alternating in what side it is, and that way it's going to be nice and even. And then we're going to take them outside and we're going to spray them again with the Rust-Oleum frosted glass spray. One heavy coat was sufficient, and it did dry pretty quickly. Once dry, I brought them back inside, and they're nice and frosted, and I love it. Now this snowman ornament is from Dollar Tree, and this is the second craft I use it in. I'm going to remove the hanging piece as well as everything from the hat except for the black portion. Although it's really cute, I want to create my own style and make the embellishments a little larger. I'm going to cut off some of this ticking stripe ribbon to wrap it around the top of the hat, as well as a rounded one for the top portion. Hot glue it in place as well as the other piece. Although you could have kept the previous decorations, I think making them a little bit more grand and larger really goes a long way. So I'm just going to add a few of these picks, a couple from Dollar Tree, and then these little vase fillers that are great. Here's the difference between what it came with and what I added, and I think it makes a big difference, although you can leave it as is. These little fairy lights, I'm sure you're familiar with because I use them a lot. I get them on Amazon in a pack of 18, and they are in my Amazon store as well. They're so good for crafting, especially for Christmas. I'm also going to use alien tape, and we're going to secure the battery pack inside each bowl. And because the lights are wired, they do not come out or slide off, which is great. The alien tip I do get on Amazon, and it is also in my Amazon store if you want to check it out. But I love it. It has such great adhesive to it. We're going to add the snowman head right on top of the small one on the bottom. And then we're going to place the little bowl on top of the larger one. We're going to cut off a couple of pieces of this fabric that has a nice, kind of like a plaid look. I'm going to make it longer by hot gluing 2 pieces and wrapping it around like a scarf. And I want it to be extra long for this snowman. Look how cute he looks. And we're going to place it right there. Oh my word. It is so cute. Wait until you see it in a darker room. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take a wine glass. They have so many selections in every size you can think of. I already had this one at home, so we're going to use it. We are going to trace it on top of some cardboard. Now, this was white cardboard, which worked great. I would rather have a white surface, so if you have regular cardboard, you can also paint it or cover it with paper or poster board. Once cut, I'm going to take some of this foam. This is just one of those cone foams from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut off the bottom portion about 1/2 inch thick and use it as a base so that we can start adding a couple of little things inside of it. This little tree was a little too big, so here I am just cutting it slowly but surely, making sure that I'm not cutting too much, but cutting just enough. Once I had it in the size, I'm just going to hot glue it in place. And this tiny little Santa that came with the little figurines for a Christmas village. And I'm going to add one more little greenery pick here. This one is from Amazon. Now, I should have added these fairy lights before I added everything else. It's okay. I'm going to wrap it around the tree, and I want to wrap it a little bit around Santa, making it look like Santa is hanging the lights because I think Santa can help stringing some lights on the tree. All right, we're going to leave the battery pack hanging on. We're going to add a little bit of snow inside the wine glass. A little bit goes a long way. And then we're going to add glue all around the rim and very carefully take the bottom portion and slide it in. Make sure you do not add glue where the wire is for the lights. All right, we're going to shake it around, making sure that snow is nice and spread, and add a little bit of alien tape to the back, and we're going to attach it to the back of the wine glass. That way it's not going to be seen. All right, for the middle of the glass, so that neck portion where you hold it, I'm going to wrap around some of this red ribbon from Dollar Tree. I'm going to wrap it around over and over again, secured it in place with hot glue. And then we're going to take another ribbon. Now, this ribbon is from Lowe's, I believe. We're going to make a very simple bow, loop it like an awareness ribbon, scrunch it in the middle, tie it with some string, and then we're going to tie it around the center of that middle portion. Of course, you want to fluff it as needed, and you can add whatever you want to the center of it. I didn't have any pine cones, so I'm going to add this golden bell, and I think it's so cute. We're going to hide all that glue and cardboard from the bottom using some white yarn. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue and then wrap around it all the way around. That way, again, it's just going to hide all that clumpiness from the glue and the cardboard and cutting off the excess. I added a full battery-operated candle, and I think it's absolutely stunning. Oh my gosh, wait until you see it in a darker room. So beautiful, and it's so easy. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take one of these little jars, which you've seen before. I love using them. I love that they're $1.25, but you can also use a mason jar for this craft. All right, we're going to remove the sticker once again, and then we're going to drill a hole on top of the lid. So drill it while the lid is on, very carefully not to hit the glass, and very careful because it does get pointy and prickly on the bottom. We're going to cut off another piece of that same foam from earlier, and we're going to attach it to a stick here just so that we can reach the bottom and hot glue it in place. Once it's attached, we can start adding some greenery. Now, again, we're going to use one of those little trees, and we're just going to remove the bottom, hot glue it in place. And for this one, we're going to keep it simple, although you can add whatever you want. I'm just going to make a nice, cute little forest of evergreens, and I'm going to add different textures, different colors, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this to make it very magical. So I'm attaching this last one here, and then we're just going to add some of faux snow. Again, just a little bit goes a long way. Shake it around just to make sure it's covering the foam, and then we're going to start adding some fairy lights. But this time we're going to add it through the hole, and we're going to tape it on the inside of the lid. I want the lights to just be a glow onto the evergreen. So we're just going to, again, slide it through the hole, and then we're going to tape it underneath the lid, making sure we're leaving some space so that we can thread it back on the jar. And there's what it should look like, just like that. All right, so now we're going to place it right back in, and we are going to secure the battery pack again with the back on the back with some tape. Then we're going to take this golden ribbon from Dollar Tree and we're going to wrap it around the rim. You can leave it as is. You can also spray paint it if you want. I think a red will look gorgeous, or white. And that's about it. I gotta tell you, it is so simple, but that beautiful glow, especially at night, is stunning. I love all the different greens and textures that it gives, and of course the faux snow. But let me know what you think down in the comments. We're going to start with this traditional style one. We're going to remove the paper and we're going to take it outside and we're just going to spray paint it with this Rust-Oleum red spray paint. I have no clue what was happening with my spray paint. It was a little blotchy, but in the end it worked out well and it looks really good. While it's drying, I'm going to take this vinyl. This is just one I got on Amazon. I'm going to cut a piece to fit the pizza pan, except it didn't cover that one little extra part. So I'm just going to makeshift something here to make sure that it's going to work. So I'm just going to cut off a piece and then just open a little bit of it, maybe about a half an inch. And then I'm just going to attach it to that one end. And it actually worked really well. And once it was attached, it's time to just trace it onto the vinyl, just like that. Then I am going to tape it down because it kind of keeps curling on me. And I'm going to mark right in the center with the little dot. Then around the perimeter, I am going to mark every 5-inch. So I'm going to start with one end, mark where the 5-inch, and then place it where that end was, and then mark it again. And I'm going to do that all the way around until the entire piece is marked. I am now going to use the extra pizza pan, and I'm just going to trace from the center to each mark with that rounded look. This is going to give me that cute little mint style, and I'm going to do that all around. And then I'm going to take my X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to cut each piece. You can also use your scissors if you have that. All right, so now that the piece is dry, it actually looks really good. I made the mistake of not sealing it with the top clear coat, and it did peel off on me. So if you're watching this and you're going to try this, make sure you seal it first. Just spray it with the clear top coat. All right, so I'm going to take the first piece, remove the back, and I'm just going to place it. Now at this point, I wasn't sure if I wanted the edges to overlap, and I decided to do it, and then I regretted it. So then I removed it, and it scratched, and it removed some of the paint. Okay, I'm going to be very honest. This was a hot mess, but I think in the end we made it work. So let's keep going. All right, so now I'm going to place each one individually. I have 4 of them, so just spacing them out as best and as close as possible to being evenly spaced out. So then I decided to just cut off that top portion. And I used my X-Acto knife, and it worked really well, except that because it is rounded on the edges, it still creates this like bubble wrinkled style, and I just did not like it. Now, looking at the camera here, it looks way better than what it really was. So I'm doing my best to really make sure that it's going to work out. So I decided, let's paint the rim. If I just paint it, it's going to blend in to the actual white portion, and it looks great on camera, but believe me, it did not look good in person. You can still see the vinyl was peeling off. It was just not working out. So then I decided, let's just cover it up with some white rope. This is nautical rope from Dollar Tree, and I think that this will work. Now, I wish I could have just left it white. I think it would have looked better. But in the end, just wait until you see it. I think it worked out. All right, so I added 2 layers. So just doubled it up on the edges to make sure everything was going to be covered. I did take it outside before I added the rope, and I sprayed it with the top coat. You can see how it's a little bit more glossy. All right, so now we're going to add some greenery. This is from Amazon, but of course you can use the ones from Dollar Tree. We're just going to place 2 on each side. Some of these red glittery picks from Dollar Tree as well. And then in the center, we're going to add a couple of these pine cones and some red berries, just keeping it kind of simple. On the back, I did put a little bit of ribbon just to loop it and hot glued it and taped it to be able to hang it. I think it turned out absolutely adorable. I love the way it actually looks better with the rope. Well, let me know, what would you have done differently? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take another pizza pan, remove the plastic. We're going to wipe it really well to remove any dust. And this one we're going to take outside and spray paint it white. Now, you really can't really tell because it's so bright outside, but trust me, it's there. I did add 3 light coats. Once dry, it looks great. Now this one, I did spray it with the top coat first. It's fully dry, and we're going to take this design that I found at Cricut Design Space, and we're just going to use some plastic clear vinyl, and we're going to transfer it onto the center. Now, if you don't have a cutting machine, that's okay. You can use calendars from Dollar Tree. You can use window clings, which we're going to use one here in just a little bit. You can use the carbon paper method that I have showed you many times before, and I think the possibilities are endless. But I thought this design was really cute, so I wanted to use it with some red vinyl. Once I attached it, we're just going to add a couple of these picks once again. I'm going to add it towards the top left corner. And we're just going to add again 4 of them, 2 to each side. Add 2 of these poinsettias right there in the center. And that way it's just going to add a nice pop of red. And then some gold picks again from Dollar Tree. Instead of adding a little bit of ribbon in the back to hang it, I decided to add a robe to this one. That way you can see the robe and it just adds something different. Just another option for you to consider when you're creating your own. So I'm going to hot glue it, and because it will fray, I'm just going to add a tape, and this is going to prevent it from fraying. And I think it's gorgeous. I love the way this one turned out. Spraying it with the top coat really protects that paint. I love the greenery, but let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take another pizza pan, remove the paper, wipe it really well, and again, we're going to take it outside and spray paint it white. Of course, you can use any color combination you want, but white, I just love. It just gives me a nice clean slate. All right, we're going to use my Cricut again, and I found this other one that says, Santa, please stop here in blank days. I thought it was so cute, and the fact that the pizza pan is metal, I think it's going to look great. And so I'm just going to center it right there, attach it. And then there's 2 things you can do to add the numbers. You can add magnetic letters or numbers just like these. I found these on Amazon, and you can do it just like that, and they'll stick to the metal nicely. If you do not have these magnetic letters or access to them, you can grab some of this Dollar Tree vinyl. It's very glossy. Just cut up a square that fits right there in the center, and then you'll be able to write with a dry erase marker and count down the days, which I think is absolutely adorable. You can erase it and then add and count down as the days go by. So cute. All right, we're going to take this Dollar Tree Santa hat, and we're just going to place it, kind of tilt it a little bit. I thought it would be a fun twist instead of just adding greenery. So we're going to hot glue it in place and making sure that it's not going to cover any letters, but make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. Now I want it to tilt and kind of stand up straight a little bit. So I am going to flip it to the back, and I am going to add a little bit of cardboard inside, hot gluing it to the back. That way it's going to add a little bit of height, and it's not going to bend down on me or fold completely. I hope that makes sense. So adding a little bit of hot glue, adding the cardboard, now it's going to allow it to kind of just stick up a little bit. And then we're going to fold it to the side, hot glue it so it stays put. I'm going to add one of these poinsettias and some greenery, again, just to add a little bit of decor, but we're going to keep it simple. For this one, we're going to do the same thing I did with the first one. We're just going to flip it over, making sure it's nice and straight. And we're going to add a little glue, a little bit of ribbon, and we're going to tape it in place. And again, this is just not going to go anywhere. And it's really lightweight, so it worked really well. I think it's stunning and such a fun craft you can do, even with your little ones. I love the way this one turned out, but I would love to know what you think of this one. Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take one of these pie pans. Now, you can use these for deep dish pizzas. I'm going to paint this one with this beautiful ivory color by Waverly. The first coat I did nice and brushed, just regular brushing. For the second coat, I did a dab, kind of like dabbing instead of brushing, and that gave it a lot of texture. And then I did spray it with the top coat, but later. First, we are going to place these window clings. These are the ones you can find at Dollar Tree every season. And I love using them. If you don't have a cutting machine, this is a great alternative. You can use these and you can Mod Podge them really easily. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to Mod Podge this Merry Christmas right on top. And then I'm going to add some of the evergreen pines that are on the same set, cutting and Mod Podging as needed. Once they were all attached, I took it outside, sprayed it with the clear top coat, and look how cute it looks. Oh my gosh. All right, so I got these on Amazon. This is a set of 4 rub and buff, and they come in 4 shades: gold, copper, black, and silver. I'm going to use the copper And basically you just want to open it up and then use a little rag and you just want to apply it by rubbing it on. And I'm just going to do the edges on this one, and I think it gave it such a beautiful touch. All right, so then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to add again a little bit of ribbon in the back. That way we can hang it. So a little bit of glue, just some tape, and then that way it can be hung. The important thing when you're doing this is make sure that you're attaching it in the right location, right on top. All right, so back to the front, we're just going to add some greenery here. And it's so easy to attach because it has that lip that I think works really well. And then we're just going to add some of these golden picks that we used earlier. And then we are going to add some berries right in the center. And this is just going to tie everything together with the Merry Christmas. And I think it's gorgeous. It's my favorite from today. And I'm so surprised because I'm not a fan of the ivory. I would rather have white. But boy, is it gorgeous. And I love the golden rim. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. They come two in a pack, and I love that fact. And what I love is that although they are okay for cutting, I think they're better for crafting, friends. So we're just going to put one to the side, and we're going to bring in one of these jars. These are just one of those candle holders or vases that you can find at Dollar Tree year round. We're going to wrap the flexible mat around it, and then we're going to mark to start cutting. We're going to cut from both sides, from the height as well as the width, because we want to make sure that it fits nicely around the jar for what we need it for. And now that I have it cut to size, I'm just going to cut the top portion in a wavy wave. Of course, you can do whatever you want. You can leave it flat. I just thought adding a little bit of design would work really nicely. We're going to bring in my alien tape. If you don't know what alien tape is, you're missing out. I got this one on Amazon and it is amazing. It sticks so good. Cut two pieces, place it on the back, one on top of each other, and then we're just going to wrap up the mat right around it, and then making sure that it attaches to the alien tape, just like that. All right, now we're going to take a ribbon. Now this is where you can add whatever you want around it, whatever you want, whatever color scheme. I like this striped red and white ribbon, so we're just going to wrap it around, and then we're going to cut another piece and make a very simple bow. I like looping it like an awareness ribbon. We're going to scrunch it in the middle, tie it with some string, cut off the excess, and then we're going to hot glue it to the center of the face. I thought about adding greenery and maybe a few other things, but I'm just going to leave it simple, and I'm just going to add a bell right in the center. These battery operated candles are from Dollar Tree, and I love them. They come with the batteries already, and they flicker, friends. Oh my word, they look so good, and it fits perfect inside the vase. Wow, what an easy craft. What a great way to use these flexible mats, and what a beautiful craft. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take it to my Cricut machine. But if you don't have a Cricut, that's okay. I'm going to show you a way you can do something similar without a cutting machine. All right, so I designed this in the design space, and it's going to look like a bookmark with my daughter's name. That's also going to double as a Christmas gift tag. So we're just going to rip it apart, basically just removing the design from it. And it does take a little bit because, like I said, it doesn't cut all the way, but I enjoy this process. So I'm just going to do that and speed it up here for you, and then reveal her name. We are going to place a nice, beautiful Christmas style craft paper behind it. So I'm going to trace it to the back of the paper and then cut it. And this is what we're going to place underneath, so that way you can see that nice design under it. And then I'm just going to stack them on top of each other, and I'm going to trace the circle on the top, and then we're just going to cut that, and that's where we're going to thread the ribbon. And I'm going to use one of these Dollar Tree ribbon. We're just going to thread it through, and we're going to make a simple knot, although you can make a bow if you'd like. Again, this is going to work as a Christmas gift tag, so you can write who it's from in the back, and of course the name shows who it's for. Now, if you do not have a cutting machine, I promised you we're going to do something similar here. We're going to make a smaller gift tag, and we're just going to cut the flexible cutting mat into the gift tag style, and then we're going to trace it on the back of the cardstock paper, just like we did earlier. And similarly to the one before, instead of just tracing the circle, we're just going to use the hole puncher. That's it. Cut it through and then trace or thread some of the ribbon right through it. For this one, we're going to make it a little different. We're just going to add a little bow because I think it looks kind of cute. But again, you can use this as a gift tag, and then you can write it either on the back or on the craft paper, whatever you'd like. We're going to angle cut the excess, and look how adorable this is. Again, if you don't have a cutting machine, this is a great alternative. How gorgeous are these? I love the fact that they are so versatile and they're so unique. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take this piece of scrap wood. This was in my garage, and we're just going to sand it smooth using my sanding block from Dollar Tree. And then, of course, we want to dust it really well because we want to paint it. So I like to dust with a brush first and then wipe it clean. I'm going to paint it in this beautiful red by Waverly in the crimson, and I'm going to do all the sides, including the back. While it's dry, I'm going to use my Cricut again, and I'm going to make the design of a snowflake. You can do whatever other design you like. You can also use the carbon paper method that I've showed you many times before. So I'm just going to, again, rip it apart. That sounds awful. We're just basically pulling it apart, and then we are going to have the snowflake. I'm going to use my fingers and my nails to kind of give it a little bit of a curl because I do want it not to be flat on the wood. Now we're going to take the piece of wood and we're going to distress it. You can skip this part, of course. I tried doing it with the sanding block, but it wasn't distressing as much as I'd want it. So then I move on to my electric sander, and it worked really well. So I'm just going to distress all the edges, the front and the back. Again, you can skip this part if you do not like the distressed look. We're going to wipe it really well again, and this is where we're going to place the snowflake. It's going to be such a beautiful but simple craft. All right, we're going to take this upholstery tack that you can find at Dollar Tree. We're going to place the snowflake right there in the center, and then we're just going to hammer the tack right in. I like that the tack is that beige color, and it kind of complements the distressed look of the board. We're going to add some of these felt pads underneath. That way, if we place it on top of a mantle or a tabletop or a countertop, it's not going to scratch it. I love using these. You can find them at Dollar Tree. If you take a large one and you cut it into fours, it creates a nice squared end, and that way you can add it to the corners. Just like that. How gorgeous is this? I'm telling you, the simplest crafts are the best. I love the way this turned out, but what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. They come at 32 in a pack, and they come in 4 different sizes, which I absolutely love. We're going to take 2 of the medium size ones, and we're going to start by folding them about 1/2 inch, and we're going to go back and forth, and we're going to fold it like an accordion or like a handheld fan. We're going to do that all the way from one side to the other side, and then we're going to do it all over again for a second one. Now, you can do this with any size of the doilies. I just happened to grab the medium sized ones, but you can do little ones or you can do the largest ones as well. Once you have them both nice and folded, you're going to join them together side by side, making sure they're nice and even on the ends. Then you're going to hold it about maybe 3 to 4 inches from the top. Grab a stapler, it does not matter which stapler, and then staple it. I staple it a couple of times right next to each other, but one of them should be fine as well. Then you want to open it up, the top sides to each side. We're creating an angel. And then we're just going to hot glue each of the smaller sides to the larger bottom one by adding glue just maybe about 1 inch long. Then we're going to join both bottom portions, and then we're going to fluff as needed, opening them up, and then you can start seeing the beautiful angel shape. We're going to add some glue to the top and a wood bead. Now you can also use an ornament. I thought later I could have totally used a golden ornament and it would have been gorgeous, but it's okay. The wood bead worked well. I'm going to use some Mod Podge, and I'm going to brush on some of the fold everywhere on the angel, starting on the wings and then work my way down to the actual dress. And then we're just going to add glitter. Now I picked the golden glitter, but you can do red, you can do blue, silver, whatever you want, or you can totally skip this part if you want. You can also add faux snow, which I think would be a great little detail, but I decided to go with the golden glitter. I just liked the way it looked, And again, I'm just going to do all over the angel's wings and the bottom. If you've worked with glitter, you know it's going to get everywhere. So I'm going to use my little handheld vacuum here, and it works so good. And I do have it in my Amazon store, which is linked below if you want to take a look at it. I'm going to add some yarn. You can also use pipe cleaners or golden ribbon. Whatever you have is fine. But look how cute this angel is. You can use as an ornament or just to hang around your home. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take one of each size doilies. We're going to start with the small one, and we're just going to fold it in half, and then we are going to cut them in half. We're going to create little cone-shaped designs, and we're going to do that in every size. Now, you can do whatever you want. You can do them all the same size, all large ones, whatever you want. But I want them to be from small to large, so I'm going to do the same thing on all the doilies. And then once I have them cut in half, it's time to start shaping them into a cone. So you just want to fold them, and the key here is you want to make sure that the bottom portion is all even with each other. This is going to give you a nice flush bottom as well as a nice pointy top. Once you have it in place, you're just going to add a little bit of hot glue and then just seal it. You can also use double-sided tape or even clear tape. I'm going to do the same thing on all of them. All right, so we have each of them shaped like a cone. And now we're going to take a bowl and some faux snow. This is from Dollar Tree, and I also have gotten it on Amazon, but whatever you have on hand is fine. I'm going to add Mod Podge to the top of each cone, just on the portion that is solid. So I don't want it on the portion that has a lacy design. So just the top portion. And I'm going to add a lot of Mod Podge. Just be careful not to drip a lot. But I do want it to be heavy so that the faux snow sticks really well to it, almost like frosting. I'm going to do the same thing on all of them because I want all these little cones to look like little pine trees, and I love for them to just shimmer with that faux snow. All right, I sped it up because it's very repetitive, but I want you to see the difference in all the sizes. The larger ones, they do get a little flimsy once the Mod Podge gets on them, but it works really well. And just set them to the side, let them dry, and look how easy and gorgeous these are. You can add these to a Christmas village. You can add them to a mantle, whatever you want. Let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take more doilies. This time we're going to take 9 of the small ones, and we're going to fold in half and then fold the sides until they overlap right there in the middle where that fold is. I'm going to add a little bit of glue stick right there, and we're just going to attach both sides and try not to get any glue to the back of the doily. So then we're going to add a little bit of more glue stick, and then we're going to fold it right there in half. We're going to create little pockets, so you want it to look like a little pocket. And we're going to do this same thing to all 9 doilies. All right, once you have everything set, this is what it should look like. It should look like a little pocket, just like this. See? Joined in the center, but the sides are not joined together. All right, so now we're going to join all these little pockets together. We're going to create a T using hot glue. We're going to add it to the bottom base and then up the middle, but stopping where the solid paper is. Again, avoid that lacy part of it. And then we're just going to do the same thing to all of them. Once they are stacked and attached, you can open it up just like this. Isn't that looking cute? Oh my gosh. All right, so then you're just going to work your fingers through all the pockets, just making sure nothing is stuck where it shouldn't be, and then add that one last one right there. You can add a string and hang these. I'm going to do the same exact thing, but I'm going to do it with the medium-sized doilies. I thought it'd be cute to have a small one and a large one. These mimic little snowflakes, and it'd be great to hang in your home or even for a birthday party or wedding, shower, whatever you want. Great way to use these doilies. Once again, just make sure that all the pockets are nicely separated, and look how stunning these look. Again, you can add a string and hang them. Love the way they turned out, but let me know what you think down in the comments. We're going to start with this wood blank. I found this during the fall season, and it's supposed to be a haunted house. And in the fall, I turned one into a fall church. And today we're turning this one into a cute and fun Christmas gingerbread house. So the first thing we want to do is remove everything from it, the tags and stickers, and then we're just going to paint it brown. This is the best brown I had on hand. It's not my favorite, but it worked out okay. I did 2 coats. Then I cut off little strips of this Dollar Tree white towel that you can find in the automobile aisle at Dollar Tree. And we're going to use this to create a snow bed on top of each roof line. Now you can choose to do this, or you can also use rope, you can use ribbon, or even just paint it on. It's up to you. I think adding that texture of the fluffy towel really works well. I'm going to add it in all the roof line, and I did forget a tiny little space right there next to that. Yeah, you see it. It's there. It's missing the entire time, and when I was taking pictures, I finally noticed and I had to fix it. So yeah, it happens. All right, I'm going to do the same thing above all the door and all the windows, and that way it's just going to look like a huge snowstorm covered every single inch of this house. Once we had everything covered, I am going to take white paint and I'm just going to trace the inside of each door and window. This is just going to add a little bit more of that frosted look and really outline those details very nicely. But again, it's optional. You can also use a white paint marker. I tried mine and it wasn't dark enough, so I wanted to try the paint and it worked. Once dry, we are going to start adding some of these cute window clings you can find at Dollar Tree and even Dollar General and Walmart. They're so fun. And I'm going to start with a couple here. You may need to Mod Podge some of them, or actually most of them, because they do stick to glass, but they do not stick well to any other surface. So Mod Podge works really well, and I did add way too much Mod Podge to this first one. You don't need that much. Just a little bit goes a long way. So I learned, I changed it for my second one here. And then I do have some of these that are actually peel and stick, which are so fun. And I'm just going to add, this is what you can add whatever you want, friends. Literally have fun. Add whatever you want. It's a gingerbread house. It's supposed to be colorful and fun and overcrowded with decor. All right. So I'm just going to add a couple of these gingerbread stars. And then we're going to add a base to it. Now, Dollar Tree carries these wood blanks, and I love using these for crafts. I'm going to take a tumbling tower block from Dollar Tree as well. And we're just going to add 2 of them towards the back, leaving about an inch on the back. The 2 of them, we're just going to create a nice little slit where I can then hot glue the house to, and it'll stand and be so fun. All right, we're going to take one of these dusting mops from Dollar Tree. You know I love these for crafting. Remove the tag from it. We're going to cut off about 1/3 or about 1/4 of it. And then we're going to attach the larger one to the front with hot glue. And then we're going to attach the smaller one to the back, joining them together on the sides. And this is going to make it look like a nice bed of snow in front and the back of the house. Dollar Tree carries tons of these bottle brush trees, and I love the ones that have the frosted look or the white. It just looks so pretty. I'm just going to add a couple to each side. Now on the bottom, I forgot to record this part. I did add a piece of cardboard on the entire bottom because the sides are flappy, right? So I did add that, and I think it turned out absolutely gorgeous. It's such a cute gingerbread house to display without the baking. But let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take this gorgeous frame, and it has such a beautiful design, very textured. We're going to remove again everything from it, but we're going to keep the glass nearby because we are going to use it. We're going to also remove the clips because we are not going to need this. Now, we are going to be spray painting this one, and I decided to go with the red, but you can go any color you want: white, gold, green. Possibilities are endless. I took it outside. I'm just going to spray with a beautiful red by Rust-Oleum spray paint. Once it was dry, I brought it inside, and I'm just going to lightly sand it just to really make that texture pop. But you can skip this part. I'm going to dust it really well, make sure that it's completely dust-free. We're going to flip it to its front, and then we are going to hot glue the glass right back on it. It's pretty lightweight, so it held really well. And then we're going to bring this set of clings. These are actually from Dollar General, and I love the design they have. Such colorful, but yet not too bright. Great combination, and because they're meant to go on windows, it sticks really well to the glass of the picture frame. I think it's a perfect match for it. I'm going to take some greenery picks from Dollar Tree. These are their Christmas collection, and I'm going to start hot gluing towards the upper left corner. Just hot glue, kind of hold until it holds and dries, and I just decided to keep it quite simple because there's already so much design with the decal or the cling. I'm going to take this beautiful ribbon. This one is from Hobby Lobby. It's a huge spool that I got, but you can use whatever you have on hand, even from Dollar Tree. I'm going to make a very simple bow and then just scrunch it in the middle, tie it with another piece of the same ribbon, leaving a few little legs. We're going to hot glue it to the corner, and then we're going to cut the legs in a dovetail shape. And that's it. Oh my goodness, my friends, this one is so pretty. You can do, again, any color you want. You can use any window clings you want. So many possibilities, so many ideas. What do you think of this one? We're going to start with this wood blank. It's in the shape of an ornament. We see these at Dollar Tree all the time for every season. I'm going to take this from Santa wrapping paper, which is gorgeous. I love the red and the white tones. We're going to cut off a piece that would fit the top of the ornament, and then we're going to spray the surface with this Gorilla Adhesive spray. We're just going to do one coat, let it get sticky, and then we're going to place the paper, flatten it out, and removing any bubbles. Once it's attached, we just want to start sanding it in a downward motion on the edges to remove the excess paper, and I'm leaving it in regular time so you can see how quickly it actually removes. But then I'm going to speed it up. All right, so we're just going to do that all the way around, removing the excess paper. And then I want to change the top of the ornament. I felt like it was a little too small. So we're going to take this piece of cardboard. This is just something I had on hand. Any piece of cardboard will work. And I'm going to cut off a piece. It ended up being about 4 inches by 4 inches, give or take. I'm going to round off the top edges, and then I'm going to cover it using this glittery golden vinyl from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to wrap it, removing the excess, but we're just going to wrap it around on the edges. And then we're going to attach it to the top of the ornament using hot glue. Before I add any more embellishments, I want to flip it over, and I'm going to add a little ribbon. This is just so that we can hang it. Anything you have on hand is fine. I'm going to hot glue as well as tape it. Then we're going to flip it over again, and we're just going to add some of these poinsettias. These are from Dollar Tree. They are a little bit kind of like wrinkled. I'm going to do my best to hot glue as needed so they look nice and pretty. I'm going to add 2 of them, and then some of these frosted picks, as well as some golden ones. That one kept curling on me. So at the end, I'm just going to kind of hot glue it to where I want it to be. Adding the golden tone really pulled everything together. You can add, of course, anything you want to it, and this is one of the easiest, funnest crafts you can do. You can use any wrapping paper, of course, any design, but I love how simple yet festive it is. Well, let me know what you think down in the comments. It's $1.25 and it has a black finish, but we are going to switch it up. We're going to remove the plastic, and we're going to remove everything from it temporarily. We are going to scruff off the surface because we want to take that sheen off. Then we're going to wipe it really well, and then we're going to take it outside and spray paint it with this gold spray paint. Of course, you can do any color you want. I give it several coats, and then once dry, I brought it back inside. I love that it has that metallic finish because we are going to do something different onto the glass. We're going to take this mirror style vinyl that I got on Amazon. I am so happy I got this. It is great for crafting. And although it's not exactly a very clear mirror, it does give that effect and it's so fun. So I cut it to size, remove the plastic film from on top and the black paper from the back, and just place it on the glass that came with the frame. Flatten it out as best as I can, and then I'm just going to place everything right back on the frame the way it was, except we're going to remove the backing from the back and the little clip. Once it's secured in place, I am going to take one of these felt pads that I get at Dollar Tree, although you can get them at Walmart and Amazon. I'm going to cut a large one into fours, creating these squared ends, and we're going to place one on each side. This is so that way it's not going to scratch any surface that this will be laying on. That way it's going to give me a nice smooth finish. Okay, flip it back to the front and we are going to add some of these greenery picks. You can use the ones from Dollar Tree, but I'm going to use these that I get on Amazon. I'm going to place one facing each way. We're going to place one of the pine cones and some of these red glittery picks from Dollar Tree. Of course, you can add anything else you want to it, but I want to keep it on the simple side. Dollar Tree has many glasswares, and I found this one recently, and I love the shape that it has. I'm going to place it right on top, and we're going to place a full battery-operated candle that I get at Amazon. It has this little remote, and you can turn it on, and I think it's gorgeous. I love that the mirror reflects the candle. I love how cute and dainty it is. I love how easy it was. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take this golden, beautiful frame from Dollar Tree. We are going to, again, remove everything from it, but this time we're going to remove it. We're not going to use any of the center. Of course, you can keep any parts that you want for future craft. We're also going to remove all the little clips from the back, and they remove pretty easily. I'm going to add more of those greenery picks to the top of the frame. I contemplating adding just 2, but this time I'm going to add 4 just to make it a little bit bigger and fuller. And a little hot glue goes a long way. Just hold it in place until it hardens. And then in the center, we're just going to add some gold ribbon. This is, again, you can add whatever you want. You can add poinsettias, flowers, picks, whatever. I'm just going to keep it, again, simple, and we're just going to add the golden ribbon. We're going to wrap it around a few times, securing it in place with hot glue. On a recent video where I used tumbling tower blocks, I created a Christmas tree with the blocks, and then I added ornaments to the center of it, hanging with string. We are going to do something similar with this craft using the same string. I'm going to cut off 5 pieces of it, and we're going to take several of these little tiny ornaments, some of the different shades of golden, and 2 of the red ones. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to tie it in knots to one end of this string. We're going to do that to all 5 of the ornaments. And then I'm going to flip upside down the frame, and we're just going to start kind of dry fitting each ornament wherever I want it to hang. And then we're going to add a little bit of glue, cut off the excess, and wait until it hardens. And I'm going to keep doing that with each ornament until I kind of see what I like. And that's it, my friends. Such an easy craft. I can't believe how gorgeous this is. The string really does disappear on the wall. They look just beautiful hanging, but what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take 4 of these white frames. I love using these. They have a great beveled edge, and 4 of them will make great window pane. I have made several crafts using this style. And we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to remove everything from it, including the little clips, but don't get rid of the glass because we are going to reuse that. Once they were all removed, we are going to start placing the glass. Now, they were a little dirty, and actually, it was not coming off on some of them, but that's okay. We are going to hot glue each glass onto each frame. Now, hot glue does work really well, but you just have to be careful. You can also use E6000 if you'd like. Once they were attached, we are going to then hot glue each frame together, creating what will look like a window pane. To give it a bit more stability, we are going to add some of these bamboo skewers. They're flat and I get them on Amazon. I'm going to cut them to size and I'm going to add them on just where the seam is. That way it's just going to hold a little stronger. And a little bit of glue goes a long way. By now, you already know that I love using these window clings. They come for every season, and they have beautiful ones for this Christmas. I am going to take several of them. We're going to attach it onto the window pane because they are window clings, right? Here's the thing. They weren't sticking very well. In the past, they have stuck significantly well. I don't know what was happening. I don't know if it was that the window had that kind of grungy thing that I couldn't take off. The point is, I had to get creative, and so we're going to see me what I do here in just a little bit. All right, so I placed the Santa, the ho-ho-ho, and the tree, and we're just going to add Mod Podge all over the frame, liberally. And then we're going to add faux snow. I want this window to look frosted and snowy, and if it gets a little bit on the glass, even better. So I did that, and then I just pressed it with my hands down, let it dry just a little bit, and then we're going to take off the remaining, just like that. Beautiful. All right, here we are. We are just going to add double-sided tape, and it worked great, friends. You can also Mod Podge it, but I didn't want it to be seen on the glass, so the double-sided tape worked really well. And I did that on all 4 pieces. Now, of course, you can leave this just like this, and it would be gorgeous. But I want to add fairy lights because it's a window pane. I want it to look nice and cozy and like the lights are on inside. So I'm going to take one of the battery packs and the string lights. I'm going to attach the battery pack to the side. That way I can access the little on and off button right there on the edge. And then we're going to just tape it all the way around the outside edge. And we're just using clear tape. That's it. Now we're going to add some of this nautical rope so that we can hang it. A little bit goes a long way because it is a pretty lightweight piece. And I think it turned out gorgeous. Oh my word. Wait until you see it in a darker room. I love making window panes, but what do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take one of these fun frames that have the little hanging pieces with the clothespin. Such a fun frame, but we're going to switch it up a little bit, although we're going to keep the same concept. We're going to remove everything from it, and I mean everything. We're just going to leave the frame, so remove the clips as well. Then we're going to start painting it in a beautiful red. Of course, again, whatever color you want, just choose whatever you'd like and whatever color scheme you'd like. I'm going to use the Waverly Chalk Pen Crimson, which is a gorgeous red. While that is drying, we are going to cut off several pieces of this vinyl. This is just one I got on Amazon, but you can use the one from Dollar Tree as well. And I cut them into inch-thick pieces. We're going to create a candy cane style frame. So we're just going to wrap it around the frame several times to make sure that it has that candy cane look. And I'm leaving about an inch between each strip. Once I have the frame nicely covered, we are going to take this beautiful glittery red ribbon from Dollar Tree, cut off a piece, and we're going to hot glue it from one end to the other end horizontally because we're going to keep the same style as the original frame. And we're just going to hot glue it, and then we're going to add the picture that came with it. But of course, you can use any picture you want, or you can also use this to hang greeting cards. I think it'd be gorgeous. And I'm just going to add the next clip right next to it, and that's it. Such a beautiful way to give this frame a beautiful Christmas festive look. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Every day at Dollar Tree, you can find really cool items that you can craft with, like these little $5 trees from Dollar Tree Plus. I love that they already come ready to be displayed, but today we're going to try to recreate this front gate high-end Christmas tree, which you're not going to believe the price is $349. We're going to make it for under $10. We're going to take the tag off, and then of course we want to spray paint the bottom so it can match the inspiration. I'm going to cover up a little bit with a bag, just some of the branches. That way it's not going to get the golden tone. And then we're going to head outside and we're just going to give it one coat. It actually worked really well, just one. But of course, you can do as many as you need. Once dry, I brought it inside and I'm going to change my camera angle here so you can kind of have a better view. And we're going to start by placing tons of ribbon and tons of embellishments. I mean, berries and frosted pigs and bells, you name it. This little Christmas tree was packed with a lot of just decor, and we're going to try to keep it as original as possible to the inspiration. So we're going to make a multiple loop bow on the top using golden ribbon as well as red ribbon. And then we're going to bring some strands going down and just tucking them in and hot gluing as needed. And we're going to do 2 of the golden and 2 of the red. And I will be speeding it up quite a bit for you because basically all I'm doing is just adding whatever I see on the inspiration and matching it as close as possible with items from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to hot glue as needed and work my way all around the tree. The original tree did not have the poinsettias, but they did have a red flower, and I figured this is what I have on hand from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use it. And then I added the bells. They had both golden as well as red ones, and I just thought, let me just add a few here and there with some hot glue. And before I show you the review, I want to remind you what the original inspiration looked like. Front gate. Gorgeous tree, but it was $349. And here is my recreation, which I think is so adorable. I love the way it turned out, and it was under $10. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take one of these larger foam balls from Dollar Tree because we are going to try to create this Pottery Barn berry and pinecone orbs. That was $19.50, and we're going to try to do it for under $5. We're going to take one of these, and of course, we're just going to start haggling quite a bit here. I found these berries at Dollar Tree. I could not find more than these. I was upset, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. I thought if I just kind of tighten them and then cut off the stem, I can just glue them in bundles of 3. That didn't work out. They just came apart. That's okay. I'm going to cut a few pieces of this evergreen pick and some pine cones. These are all from Dollar Tree, except for the evergreen that is from Amazon, but I already had it on home. Now I'm going to start hot gluing. I'm going to start with the larger items and then work my way down to just the berries. So I'm going to add the pine cones first with just some hot glue. And then with the evergreen picks, I am going to just poke holes and then just place them with a little bit of glue. And that way I can place all the berries all around. Now when we get to the berries, this is when things get really fast. I'm just going to speed it up because basically all I'm going to be doing is hot gluing berry bundles like these from Dollar Tree as well as the individual ones to cover in some of the holes. I'm going to add hot glue. Now just be very careful. The foam and the hot glue melt. Oof, and it gets really hot. So just be very careful if you're going to recreate this. Other than that, have fun. Just keep covering the foam and then use the individual berries to cover up any of the holes. And we are just about done. Now, I would have added like maybe some ribbon so that we can hang the orbs. The original didn't have it, so I'm not going to use it. But let me remind you what it looked like. Beautiful berry pinecone orbs, $19.50 from Pottery Barn. And here is mine. I love the way this turned out. And I was able to recreate it for under $5, which is a great deal. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are headed back to the Dollar Tree Plus aisle because they have this beautiful reindeer that I found for $5. Because we are going to try to recreate this front gate deer, one of them will run you between $89 and $99, which I think is outrageous, but I think we can do it for less. We're going to start by just painting it, of course. We want it to have that darker gray tone. So I'm going to use the Elephant Tone by Waverly. I thought it was the closest to the color of the original inspiration. And instead of brushing the paint on, I'm just going to dab it. This is going to create more texture, and I think it's going to give it that nice felt look that the original had. And I'm going to do the entire deer, except without doing the base, and not doing the antlers. I give it 2 coats, and once dry, it really has this matte look and it looks great. I'm going to take the gold rub and buff and we're going to stain the antlers. Now, you can also spray paint them. I could have done that, but I didn't want to like tape it and go outside and risk the paint ruining. No. So we're just going to use this with a rag and a glove, and we're just going to go on and we're going to stain the front as well as the back of the antlers, and I think it looks stunning. And we are going to paint the base white. Of course, you can leave it whatever color it comes in. You can also do the gray or black. I have a lot of white surfaces, so I'm just going to paint it white. And we're going to just do 1 coat. Actually, it was more like a coat and a half, just to make sure I had full coverage. And this is Waverly in the white. And then we are going to take glittery golden ribbon from Dollar Tree, and we are going to make a very simple bow. As the original inspiration, they had bows in the golden tone around the neck. So we're just going to loop it like an awareness ribbon, scrunch it in the middle, tie it in the center with more ribbon, cut off the excess, and we're going to angle cut the legs, and then we're just going to hot glue it to the neck of the reindeer. Let me remind you what the original looked like from Frontgate. Gorgeous reindeer. This one runs one of them between $89 and $99, and I was able to recreate it. I think it's stunning. I figured it was about $7 give or take with materials, but what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take a couple of these plastic nutcrackers from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to try to recreate these front gate nutcrackers in the golden tone that will run you about $149 for both of them. Of course, these are not the same height, but we're going to do our best. First thing we want to do is give them a haircut. I am not a fan, not a fan of the fluffy hair, so I'm just going to trim it just a little bit. Not a lot, but you can leave it as is if you want. The goal is to have this nice shimmery golden tone, but I'm going to give it 1 coat first from that other golden tone we used earlier. It has a little bit more of a matte tone down golden. This is just to give it one full coverage. Then we're going to go back in once dry, and we're going to give it 1 coat in the front as well as the back with the very metallic shimmery golden one. And of course, this took no time. All you have to do is spray it. If you're outdoors, please be outdoors. Let it dry. But let me remind you what the pair looks like from Frontgate. Again, the pair will cost you about $149. And I think these are absolutely cute. Oh my word. They turned out so much better than in my mind. I was just like, I don't know how this is going to work out. But let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take several of these taper candles holders. I already had some at home that were black. I could not find them, but these golden ones are perfect because we're going to try to recreate these Pottery Barn set of 4, originally $19.50, on sale for $15.50. I only took 2, and I'm going to show you why here in just a minute. And all we got to do is just remove the tags. That's it. These I found at the thrift store. I actually found more. But I thought to mix them up as a set would be gorgeous with the different tones of gold. And all I have to do for this one is just dust them and wipe them really well. These were only 99 cents. So much better quality than the ones from Dollar Tree. Let me remind you what the original Pottery Barns look like. Set of 4 for originally $19.50, on sale $15.50. And this is what I created. It took no time, less than a few minutes to create this craft. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're headed to the ribbon aisle. You know Dollar Tree has tons of selection of ribbon for every season, and Christmas is no exception. We are going to try to recreate this front gate bow. They come a set of 6 of them, which I think they're gorgeous. But guys, they have them for almost $75. Come on, I can't. We're going to try to recreate them using just 2 ribbons from Dollar Tree. Now, if I were to create 6 of them, as it will be, as the original was, I guess, I would probably need 2 sets. So 2 of the green ribbon and 2 of the red ribbon. But for this case, we're just going to create 1 of them. All right, so we are going to cut off 2 pieces of the ribbon, obviously 1 in the green, 1 in the red, and then we're going to cut off a small little piece of the green one so that we can tie it in the center. Like we did earlier, we're just going to loop it like an awareness ribbon, scrunch it in the middle, and we're just going to take some string and we're going to tie it in the center. You're not going to see that, so it doesn't matter which string you get. Then we're going to do the same thing with the small red ribbon, loop it, scrunch it in the middle, tie it in the center with string, and then we're going to join them together. We're just going to hot glue them first. Then we're going to flip them over, and with the little piece of the green ribbon that we cut off earlier, we're just going to hot glue it starting from the back and then wrap it around several times, secure it in place with more hot glue. This is such a simple craft. Again, this is something you can do even in different colors depending on what color scheme you're choosing for Christmas. They would be great to add to your cabinet doors, as ornaments to your tree, or even gift wrapping. I'm going to angle cut the excess ribbon. That way it matches the original, and I'm going to remind you what it looked like from front Kate. A set of 6, these beautiful bows, and they will cost you around $74.25. And I think mine looks adorable. I think if I would have made 6 of these, I would have spent just around maybe under $5. Way cheaper than the original. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. I'm going to take this one, and we're not even going to paint it. I love leaving the canvases just as is and combining them with things like these window clings, which I love them. Now, this particular clings are not from Dollar Tree. They're from Dollar General. They were 98 cents. So much better deal, and they're actually gorgeous. But if you find some good ones at Dollar Tree, of course, I use those all the time. I'm going to start Mod Podging it onto the canvas. I'm going to keep a similar style that it already had on the paper, but I'm just going to spread it nicely so it takes up a lot of that canvas. And I'm just going to add a layer underneath and a layer on top to make sure everything is sealed in nicely. And I'm going to speed it up for you quite a bit. I just want you to see where I place them, and I'm going to add everything from the cling set. I told you I was adding everything. Look at that. I love it though. I love it. All right, we're going to take this ribbon. This one is from Dollar Tree. And we're just going to place a strip at the bottom as well as the top. Easily just add a little bit of glue on each side, wrap it towards the back so it covers those ends, and we're going to do the same thing to the top. I contemplated doing it on the sides as well, but I changed my mind because I like the way it looked just on the top and the bottom. All right, to hang it, we're just going to add some rope. You can leave it like this because you can always hang it from the ledge, but I do like adding this rope. I think it just adds to the character of it, and a little bit of hot glue worked because it's not a heavy piece. And I got to tell you, I love this one. I love the colors. I love the ribbon combination with the clings, and I love that it has a farmhouse jug. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take one of this kind of like medium-sized canvas. And again, we're just going to remove the plastic and paper. And we're going to remove all the clips, all the staples from the back. And of course, be very careful. I have like scratched my hand. Just take a small little screwdriver and then just remove them with the pliers. All right, so we're going to reveal the wooden piece for a minute. Now, this is one of those things where it's just like, you don't never know what you're going to get. I got really lucky, and this is a great, great frame. I love the tone that it has. It was a little rough to the touch. No big deal. We're just going to sand it down smooth, and then, of course, we want to wipe it well. I want to create a reverse canvas frame, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the actual canvas, and we're just going to rip the edges. So if you do a little slit and then rip, it'll give it that ripped look, and I really like that look. So instead of just keeping it flush to the frame, we just wanted it to be a little bit ripped look. I don't know how to describe it. Anywho, so once I had all sides ripped, I'm just going to place the frame just right on it. And you can see that nice distressed sides. All right, so we're just going to hot glue it to the frame now. Easily, hot glue goes a long way with this. And then we're going to plan on doing something on the inside. Now, you can stain the frame before you attach it. You can paint it. It's up to you. I'm going to leave it just like this. I like the natural look. This is a 2025 calendar. You know I love crafting with their calendars. They have great designs. It was actually $1.50 and not $1.25. Keep that in mind. I'm going to take this Christmas one. I think it's gorgeous. It's a very simple wreath with a very simple red bow. And I'm going to use my X-Acto knife and carefully remove it from the rest. I love doing this. It does take a little while, but to me, it's just very, very entertaining. I don't know. And I'm going to do the outside as well as the inside. And again, be very careful. You can also use your scissors. I find it easier with my X-Acto knife, but it's up to you. So we're just going to remove that inside portion. And this is what we're going to place right inside of the canvas. We're just going to dry fit it. And then once I have it where I want it, we're just going to attach it with a little bit of hot glue. I want to give it a little bit of a 3D look, so we're going to take some of this glittery red ribbon from Dollar Tree and we're going to create a bow, same size as the one that it already has. I loop it like an awareness ribbon, scrunch it in the middle, tie it with more string. We're going to cut off the ends in the same shape, just dovetail cut them. That way it mimics the original one. And we're just going to hot glue it right there where the other bow is. I loved that we did this. It is such a smart way. I did add a little bit of more ribbon in the middle. That way it's just going to cover up that string. And again, mimic very closely the original ribbon. All right, so we're going to attach it right there. And then I want to add more ribbon to the back. This is so that we can hang it, although you can leave it like this or maybe add something smaller. I'm going to have some greenery picks. These are from Amazon, but you can use the ones from Dollar Tree, of course. And we're just going to add a frosted berry right there. That's it. Keeping it simple but lovely. I love the natural tones, the rusticness that it has to it. What a beautiful piece you can display in your home. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take one of the flat canvases and of course remove the plastic and the paper. And again, I'm not going to paint this one, but you can if you want. I'm going to take these pieces of leftover craft paper. These are just some. One of them is from Dollar Tree. The rest are from a craft book. I'm going to measure about 9 inches because that's kind of how high I want these trees to be on the canvas. I'm going to do several of the trees in a triangle shape and the other ones in a little bit more of a traditional Christmas tree. And I'm just going to start cutting, marking, measuring until I have enough trees. Now, this is where you can do whatever you want. You can also use fabric if you have fabric. You can use construction paper, whatever you have, just as long as you choose colors that go with what you want. So for this one, we're just going to kind of fold it in half so that each side mimics each other very closely. And then we're just going to keep adding different trees. Most of them are going to be very simple. All right, so I'm just cutting the last couple here, and then we're going to take the canvas and we're just going to start dry fitting them, moving them around to see what I like to see, what kind of pattern I'm looking for, and making sure that the colors are going to complement each other. Then, once I find what I like, then I'm just going to hot glue them in place. All right, so we're just going to add this last one right here, and I think it's looking gorgeous. Oh my word. All right, we're going to add some greenery to the bottom. Again, you can use some from Dollar Tree, but these are from Amazon. I'm just going to add a couple, one to each side, and then I'm going to make a very simple bow using this ribbon. This ribbon is from Lowe's. I found it in their Christmas aisles. I think it's gorgeous. And we're just going to do the same thing. Loop it like an awareness ribbon, scrunch it in the middle, tie it, and we're going to dovetail cut those ends and then hot glue it right there in the center. I think the colors complement the design very nicely. I want to add some faux snow, but want to add it not in a straight line. I just want to add it to the top. And you're going to see me here kind of brushing downwards so that it's not creating a straight line across, but more like uneven, like the snow is falling. Then I'm just going to add the faux snow. This is a combination of Dollar Tree as well as Amazon faux snow that I mixed together. We're going to press it down, remove the excess snow, and then put it to the side just to dry it just for a few minutes. It works fine. And then we are going to add some blocks to the bag. Now you can add rope so that you can hang it. I want this one to be able to stand on a surface. So I'm going to add 2 sets of 3 blocks, and then we're just going to hot glue it in place. And that way it'll be a nice piece that you can display on a tabletop, even a mantle or console table. I think this is gorgeous. It is my favorite from today. I love the designs. It has a very contemporary but yet farmhouse-ish. I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take a little mini size canvas. This is so cute. I think they even have smaller ones. Removed everything from it, and we're going to trace it on some cardboard. I think this is more like a cardstock, but it has a cardboard feel. Once cut, we are going to place some double-sided tape on the edges because we are going to cover it with some more of that craft paper that we used in the previous craft, and then cut off the excess. I want to create a busted canvas. I'm sure you've seen this. I did my very first one in the fall season, and it's gorgeous. I love doing it. It was so fun. So I want to create a mini size for Christmas. We're going to paint the canvas in this beautiful crimson red by Waverly, and we're going to do 2 coats. Put it to the side to dry. We're going to take this little mini grapevine wreath that I get on Amazon in a set of like a little bundle in a baggie. And we're going to add some of these greenery picks, and we're just going to add them all the way around facing one way. And then we're going to add some bells. These bells is just what I chose. You can add berries. You can add little tiny red flowers, whatever you want. It does not matter. I just had these on hand and I figured, why not? Let's just add them. Let's have fun. All right, the canvas is dry. We are going to crisscross it from the back with my X-Acto knife, and we're just going to open it up. Just slice it, just like that. And then we're going to add the wreath onto the cardstock right there in the center, and this is what's going to pop through the busted canvas. You see that? And then we're just going to hot glue the cardboard onto the frame. I'm just going to do 2 sides. That was plenty sufficient. And now we are going to take the pieces of the canvas, and we are going to roll them towards the outside and hot glue them in place. Although you can leave it just like this, I want to add some of this glittery golden ribbon from Dollar Tree. I think it'll really bring everything together with the silvery, kind of shimmery tone of the bells. And we're going to do that all around the edge. Then instead of doing a hanging rope or a hanging ribbon, again, we're going to use the blocks so that we can stand this one on a surface. But I think it's gorgeous. Look at the combination of the pinkish tonish red with the outside red. I love it. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. I have another video here for you with tons more of Dollar Tree DIY crafts inspiration. Check it out. I'll see you later and have a blessed day. Bye.